the Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we are here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on here in our 14th year on the Couch Potato Sports Show, whether it's Blog Talk Radio or right here on Streamline. We have been a consistent 15 years, not every once in a while. No, a consistent, the most we've ever missed, at least on our Sunday shows. The most we ever missed were 2 or maybe 3. This past year was 4, but that's all we missed during the season. We are on for at least 48 to 50 weeks each and every week here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, whether I got to fly solo or whether or not I have a misfit with me. And, of course, the misfits are what makes the show in reality. And guess what? We got one now. Yes, it is the misfit that is known as the Podpah. By the way, I get people who say, this dude's crazy. This is Russ. So, out of all that, Podfather, good morning, welcome. This is wrestling. I mean, I don't know if you ever thought of yourself as someone to say, this is wrestling, and have your name connected to it. I don't know. So I'm going to ask you, have you ever thought that your name would be associated with someone who says, now this is wrestling?
You know, it's funny because when you're 17 years old and you're sitting there at Caesar's Palace watching WrestleMania 9, which you and I talked earlier, perhaps the worst WrestleMania ever, but it's your first ever show, and you're going, wow, I want to do that. To later on have that opportunity to train to be a wrestler, and then
Kurt Hennig, right?
Huh?
Kurt Hennig, right?
Well, no, I don't know. Okay, well,
okay.
Well,
We'll
I'll get into it. No, I broke into pro wrestling. I went through Chris Adams Wrestling Academy, which he had up at the Sportatorium back in the day before it burnt down to the ground, and all the asbestos. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't die being sick in that damn building. But, you know, the thing was, back in the day, my dad used to always say, Trey, you know, if you be a pro wrestler, you gotta have like an end. You have an end, you know, so you have to have someone from the inside to help you out. So I lied and said I was Kurt Hennig's nephew, which I'm not.
Oh,
yeah. So
Kurt Hennig's going. Whoop.
Well, the fun. I mean, all that sounded really good until I had a show where he was booked on my show, and I was like, okay. And he came up.
Did you think about that before you walked in the building, or what? Did it become the shock?
What were the?
Yeah, I mean, because you knew he was coming, I would assume, right?
Well, when I saw he was booked, I'm like, oh boy, and I had to go because, you know, once again, you know, I wanted to be a wrestler. So I show up to the venue, and there he is, and he's looking at me, and he's like, "So I'm your uncle, huh?" It's like, yeah. He's like, cool, let's go. And I mean, you know,
let's hug it out.
You know, one of the greatest rivers of all time. One of the. I mean, you know, the things I heard that he had done is legendary. I mean, he had done a thing to where with Gorgeous Gary Young one time where I think Gorgeous Gary Young took his credit card and bought dinner for everybody one night, right? So what did Kurt Hennig do? He went out and he got Columbia House. All the places like Columbia House signed up Gorgeous Gary Young's information to that and had every piece of stuff delivered to his house. I mean, and to the point to where Gorgeous Gary Young says, "Screw it, you win. I'm sorry, my bad."
That's an interesting story because, you know, the background on how people break in. Sometimes it's amazing. Sometimes it's like yours, which is, you know, a funny rib. What outside of yours? What's the funniest rib you heard about someone getting into wrestling?
Oh, I mean, I don't have anything off the top of my head because, you know, everybody gets in this thing for their own reason, right?
Right. Yep, that's true. Just like me. There's a personal reason why I went and did what I did. It's always something personal like that.
Right. So, I mean, whether it's the right way or the wrong way, who's to say what way is the best way? All I
Oh,
know is that
absolutely.
I went there because I love professional wrestling. I still do to an extent. As I walked away from it and spent time, I traveled the country as a truck driver. I settled, I got married, I got kids. The idea of coming back to it was really not in the cards. And then came the podcast, and then as I did the podcast offshoots, um, and it was back when we were just a radio show.
7 years, right? 7 years you've been doing
Or
that now, right?
going on 9 now.
And
Thanks for that.
yeah, 9.
Yeah. So, but no, it's one of those things to where we started gaining a little ground. Like people were asking us to come cover their shows. Next thing I know, I'm working in AWA as a sound guy, and I move around from company to company, from whether it's NAWA to MPX, doing a post show radio show with them for a second. They worked every other week at the time, now every week, where that just became a drive for me, and for nothing, it's a hard deal to do.
Oh God.
Um, Texoma Pro Wrestling, they were NWA Texoma at the time. I was doing shows for them. And then one day I show up to Texoma Pro Wrestling, and you know, at the time their color commentator was Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, and he was on the lam. He was running from everybody, so they said we need someone, and his people were there.
Yeah.
And the promoter says, I need someone to get in there and do it. And the other promoter, Terry Hopper, God rest her soul, she looked at me and says, "Get in there, you can talk."
I remember
And
her.
she put me in there, and I was there with the Sarge for a little bit. And then as Soar was trying to get into the idea of doing commentating as well, Bobby had told me that he's looking for a commentator, and I was like, that I do this at another company, right? I was like, oh, I forget that you do a podcast. Like I'm like totally forgotten by them, so it doesn't matter. So big shock, right? So it's okay. I'm used to it. But anyway, so then they paired me with Andy for a second. Then that didn't quite work out. Then they paired me with you, and then we were off to the races. And then clearly you moved on, and I'm still doing that. And then the manager, I'm focusing more on the commentary now, I believe, because they've got other people in place to be managers, and I guess they're kind of not seeing that I have any value to them. They're not invested in me, so they want to see what they can get out of their own talent, I guess. So, I
Of
mean,
course. It's
it's
kind of,
it,
I
it is
get
what
it, but I
it
hate
is.
it.
I do too, but it is what it is. I mean, I think there's a lot on the bone you can pick at, but then again, if the opponent's not interested, then he ain't interested.
Absolutely.
That's just life. And he told me to dress up for the next show. I plan on doing that, and so we'll see what happens. I do have a kid right now who's training at Bumps and Bruises. He works with me over at my place of employment, and I led him towards Bumps and Bruises. And he's about 6'5", big white kid. He's 22 years old. Um, he can move. He's learning this stuff slowly but surely. So I got him in the right place. I hope I get to stick around to help him out a little bit. Once again, that's not my call, but if I can, awesome. If I can't, I'm 48 years old. I mean, I turn 49 here soon in April. If this is all I have to offer, then that's all I have to offer. All I know is that you have the video of me doing what I do. I have
Mm-hmm.
I have other videos of things that I've done, to sit there because like when I put together the Offshoots Network YouTube page, I'm trying to put together a legacy of what I have contributed to, whether it's this
Okay.
show, whether it's my own show, whether it's the wrestling, whether it's whatever I do. And a big part of that is, so if my kids ever got interested in anything I ever do, which is a far reach, but if it ever is, then they know where to
Believe me,
find me.
I understand that
Yeah,
one.
they know where to find me, right? So, and we're trying to grow the network enough to where I didn't realize that on YouTube they have a community page where you can put polls and you can put,
Yeah.
different I started utilizing that. No one ever uses it, but I mean, I started utilizing that. Hell, I might get on there and tell a story about my visit to the JFK Museum yesterday. I mean,
By the
who
way,
knows?
I've lived in Dallas since 2007. 2007? Yeah,
Mhm.
2007. I haven't been out there yet. I
This
and
is
that's why my wife and I decided, doggone it, we lived here. It's the most probably one of the most
historic things.
famous store. Yeah, exactly. Everybody knows about it, and we haven't been there, and we have the opportunity every single time, and we just have never done it. So we
You
are
know,
going to do it this spring.
it's funny because my son hates history. Just he takes a class, he takes Texas history right now. He hates it completely. And I was like, you do realize you live in a state to where the biggest historical moment ever took place in your city. He's like, where's that? I'm like, JFK got his head blown off here. It's a weird way I put it, but sure. I
That's
mean,
a great way to tell it to your kid.
I mean,
You couldn't have said it assassinated.
look, I am so close to saying this is where this is a city where JFK got to as a kid that we didn't want him here. But I could say that too, but no, I won't do that. But
I think it's fun. I think it's funny. We're here in Dallas. The president we can't even get a holiday out of that. So I don't know. It just seems to me. I mean, how you can't get JFK
well,
Day?
because
It's insane to me.
it happened so close to Thanksgiving, you can't just give two of them, right? Plus, it's
Uh,
not it's not a national holiday. It should be a Dallas holiday. But then, what are we saying? Don't bring
yeah,
your guns to work today. I mean, what? I mean, come on. I
something
mean,
like that.
look.
So
The more interesting thing is go on YouTube, read about how the Dallas Cowboys had to play that weekend against Cleveland, and how the city of Cleveland hated the Cowboys because they blamed everything Dallas. It was because we killed the president. How the Dallas Cowboys so
we
hated
killed the
going up there.
president.
Well, that's how Dallas was received as for a long time, and that's why the Dallas Cowboys were a lot to do with rebuilding of the image of Dallas for a long time, and that's why when Hollywood came calling and they put a TV show called Dallas together, it changed what Dallas was really all about.
You're
Now,
right about that. That was really big. And matter of fact, I live less than 4 miles away from what's it called, Falcon Landing or something like that. Wherever it's where I think I met you there actually,
yeah,
at that show. I forget the name of the Revolution, something Revolution, where I went there the first. I don't know if
I,
I
wa-
met you there
I
though.
wasn't there. I wasn't
Can't
there for
remember.
that. No, but the thing is though is that this is my third time to go out there. I thought my wife and I went out there when she took a class for UNT called Mythologizing JFK, and she could have cared less about JFK, but her class was going out there for a field trip, and I got to go out there. So my first time was like cool because I'm always a big JFK buff anyway. I love the movie, even though the movie is kind of half-assed bullshit. But I mean,
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, geez, we're really off a subject of sports, but what you mean is have a, and listen now.
it's
I
Oliver
lived with
Stone.
the biggest JFK buff. I mean, my former father-in-law had literally bookcases of John F. Kennedy books, and he read every friggin' page of it. And when JFK came out, he said that's about as close as it gets. So what do you mean it's BS? So I guess I gotta know.
I mean, it's Oliver Stone, right? He has to change things up for movie purposes, right? He had to rewrite history to appeal to his narrative. Which I'm not saying all of it was wrong because a lot of it was taken from the book that Jim Garrison wrote, The Trial of
Yeah,
the Assassin.
that's what I was gonna
But
say. I thought it was from a
but
book.
but yeah, well, I mean, there was two books. He kind of merged them together. But the thing is, I mean, Jim Garrison, he wasn't necessarily a saint in Louisiana, although he's being played by Kevin Costner. So everybody listening, sure he was. He was that way in the movie. I mean, look, the real Jim Garrison was not necessarily what you saw in the movie. If you
Oh,
actually
I,
read about
I
Jim Garrison, so but I mean, but again, it was a good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great movie. Okay, it's a great movie. I mean, I love Joe Pesci's David Ferry character.
Pesci's great in that movie, by
Pesci
the
is
way.
so great. It's like we went ice skating.
Hate
We did
him,
this.
but
We did
he's
that.
great in
You know what?
that.
You're right. We didn't do any of that crap. Okay, we did. It was so great. Tommy, I mean, and you want to talk about a who's who of I mean, think about it. Kevin Costner, Kevin Bacon, Joe
Bacon.
Pesci, John
Mhm.
Candy, Tommy Lee Jones, Sissy Spacek, I mean, Donald Sutherland. I mean, you had a who's who of actors back in
I
that
agree.
day of who was in that movie.
Yep.
It's almost a kind of like you go through and see who's still alive now. But I mean, I think the movie for what it is great. I think once again, there's a lot more to it than just that movie. I mean, it was Oliver Stone paying an Oliver Stone movie because that's what he do.
Sure. The hype,
I mean,
the hype of
yeah,
what he
yeah.
does.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, once
I
again,
get it.
I'm not saying never go watch it. I'm just saying just watch it with a grain of salt and go, this is good storytelling. Not necessarily the right story, but it's a good story. I still think Oswald acted alone. Okay, I'm one of those guys like, look, they haven't found anybody in the last 60 years to say that they did it. So I'm just going on the book on the idea that he did.
Interesting you say that because I came across. Okay, I've had 4 days off. Okay, so I've literally been doing
What are you doing with yourself for
nothing.
4 days?
I had nothing, not anything except for the fact I came across Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory.
Oh,
And
another
I
class.
literally just watched this yesterday, day
Yeah,
before yesterday.
yeah, and all he does is react everything to what Oliver Stone
But
says.
he claims he found the guy, and they did. And the funny thing is they did this thing over in Rockwall. This guy was evidently staying in a hotel over in Rockwall, and Jesse Ventura came down to see him and everything there. And I found it very. Now I understand who Jesse Ventura is. Okay,
He's a worker. Okay, I mean
he
he's
and exactly
not a good
he's a
worker, but
wrestler, and he's worked everybody and everything that he's done, even to that
he worked an
part
entire
portion of what he did
state
in
of Oklahoma for
Minnesota as the
governor.
mayor or the governor.
Governor, yeah. I
So
mean, hey,
so you got
hey,
to understand who he is when you go through it. But
hey,
I found it interesting.
hey, kudos to him for what he is. I mean, I'm a big Jesse Ventura fan politically because he doesn't float. He doesn't float the left or the right. He kind of floats that middle part, and I
He's
guess
kind of
right.
going a little bit far. He's kind of going to the left a little bit now.
Maybe
But I
so.
think that's out of necessity for him to continue what he's doing.
Maybe
I
so,
think.
but he'll never claim that though. So that's kind of his
Oh
whole
no,
thing.
no, he never will.
Yeah.
You're right.
But I mean, I do think that I mean, and going out there and seeing the gun that Oswald used, seeing the KRLD camera that they just put up there recently. I saw Bill Mercer
Yeah,
came out there from North Carolina. He came out there to see
really.
it. Yeah, and there's a video on YouTube about it. He came out to see the actual cameras. That's the one that we used when I asked Oswald. I told Oswald that he has been charged for killing the president. So I was like, that's a guy I want to interview. I know he's like 97 years old, and I mean, he's probably not willing to talk a whole lot about it anymore. But I mean, unless like a big news crew is going to cover it. But Bill
Yeah.
Mercer, I mean, from the wrestling stuff at the Sportatorium to him talking to Lee Harvey Oswald, I would just whip his ass about that the entire time because I'm so
Forget
fascinated.
wrestling. This is history.
I mean, look. I mean, whatever you think about Lee Harvey Oswald, and I think the guy was just crazy. But I mean, but at the same time, I think he was caught up in a lot of stuff to where he was in a time where everybody was wanting to go after the president. I mean, that's where the conspiracy thing kind of kicks in. Now, I understand there's new evidence saying there was more than 3 bullets. I get all that, and that would make it 2 shooters. But until you give me concrete evidence of anything, and I'm sorry, just because you put a guy on TV saying, "Yeah, I killed the president," doesn't mean necessarily that I don't believe that he killed the president right now because we've heard 1,000 different theories,
Oh God, yeah.
and
It's the biggest conspiracy theory in U.S. history, by the way, outside of 9/11.
Between that and the Bible, there are so many different interpretations of everything, right? So, what's what you believe and what you don't believe and what you get away from, what you stick with you. Whereas I'm like, look, it's a piece of history. I took my son down. I said, look, it's a piece of history. Here, he stood right near where the first shot took place, and I had the window there and where everything was. And I'm like, you know what? This was history, 60 years plus. I see people up there selling the newspapers from 1963, and I'm like saying, how's business going? Because I mean, this is their one time to shine, right? So I mean, this is their one in the weekend of the death, right? So. I mean,
Yep, you're right.
to
Yes.
walk in there and see how they have done that whole school book depository and to see the sniper's nest right there and to take a picture
Oh yeah,
of
yeah.
it. And my son's like saying, so he put the gun right there. I'm like, apparently. I mean, once again, everything is apparently, everything is allegedly, everything is this is how it's being perceived as. So I'm like, that's how I understand it. And you look at it and you go, okay, well, that's how he shot the president, maybe. But I
Maybe.
mean, but then you come across those, man, I got all this evidence saying that he didn't do it. I'm like, all right, sure. You got
Yeah.
all this evidence, and you don't have a TV show. Well, that's a shame for you, isn't it? But
Pretty sad. Yeah, no kidding.
yeah,
And everybody knows you by name? Yeah, right.
yeah, right. This is not Cheers, okay? But I mean, look, if you haven't gone, go. It's a lot. I mean,
Yep, gonna go.
it's fascinating as hell. They have like a video of the day of Kennedy's funeral. You get to watch that. You see little John do the salute to his dad, which we clearly see what happened to his life here later on down the road. And then
Wasn't he in a plane crash?
yeah. So, but for a while he got to have Daryl Hannah. So he had a lot of hits.
And he had a magazine at one point that was very popular as well.
Very popular, but couldn't score the shit. It's only probably because his name was attached to it. But hey, I mean,
how you do it?
Hey, I mean, I know Elaine from Seinfeld was after him, so good luck with that. So
there you go. So what did you think of the show last night? Since we got a second and no one's here yet, but what did you think of the show last night? It was Survivor Series. Did you go back and watch the women yet or no?
Not yet, but I know what already happened, so I ain't worried about it. I mean, I was good to see Randy Orton back in top form. He's bulking up for one last run. I do believe. I think he'll get that whether it's through Cody or through Roman or through whoever. I think the storyline would be him going through Cody and taking the belt from Cody to let Cody chase him. But Cody's got to get the belt first for that to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
The big return of R-Truth. I mean, you cannot acknowledge that. I mean, R-Truth's the man.
R-Truth, so underrated. He is so friggin' underrated. It's unbelievable.
He doesn't age. Clearly
that too. And the funny thing is I was going through the old there's a station that plays old TNA, and you see Ron Killings out there killing it. I mean killing it. The guy at one point was stellar in the ring as well. So you look at a guy like him and you go, wow, look what he's become. But what he's become is the paycheck. It's not about what it's about the money in the pocket. He made his money without having to wrestle.
Do you know why he has a job? I heard Bobby tell us that story one time. No, why he has a job? Because he makes Mr. McMahon laugh. And you know what? They're gonna pay him $800,000 a year to make Vince laugh. Why not?
I do whatever you tell me.
Right. And the thing is, I know Triple H respects the hell out of Ron Killings. I know that he loves everything about who he has on that roster right now. Which brings us to the person we didn't think he would love at all. But as you're in Chicago, last second of the pay-per-view, you hear the Cult of Personality come out, and here comes CM Punk. And pissed off a few people in the back. Drew McIntyre grabbed his shit and left pretty much at the end of the show.
Really? I did not hear that. Well, I haven't heard the backlash. So we got Drew picking up, and what else?
I don't think Drew left because of CM Punk. I think he left because of how the show ended. That might be more of a work because his team lost. But Seth Rollins lost his ever-loving mind when CM Punk came out because there's real beef with those two guys. They do not like each other at all.
Do you know what's behind the beef?
I think it's just the fact that they're both type A people, right? They're always searching to be the best guy ever. And because there's those comparisons with each other, and because the last feud that CM Punk had in WWE was with the Shield, and because the fact that never really got settled the way they thought it should have gotten settled because Punk just took his ball and left. I think there's a lot of meat on that bone, which, by the way, I think today cooler heads are going to prevail a little bit and realize, guys, you can be mad at each other all you want. Let's be professional. Let's be business. Let's make money. Because you don't think Seth Rollins and CM Punk can't draw all over the United States and all over the world? Exactly.
It would be a main event at a WrestleMania without question.
Well, but the thing is, think about how many WrestleMania matches that could be main events that you're already going to have on that card. I mean, the thing is, because you're not the last match on the card, makes you not in the main event, but you still have a main event caliber match.
Absolutely.
And a good problem to have. At the same time, I was watching and thinking he wasn't going to show up going, where would he fit? I mean, yeah, you have two shows that are doing their thing, and they try to separate the talents best they can. But where do you fit?
Oh, he's going to SmackDown without question, I think.
Oh, I think he'll go to Raw. I think he'll go to Raw.
Well, I'm just wondering about the ratings because I read something about the ratings on SmackDown are not good, and they just need to finally get rid of that announcer. That's number one. Number two, the numbers going down is they're going to switch. Hold on, let me finish. It didn't happen, but they're going. Their ratings on SmackDown are going downhill, and they're going downhill quick. So the question is how much they want to save that product. And if they don't save that product, I heard there's another station that is actually going to go after it. So why wouldn't you put Punk into where you can actually draw almost immediately?
Well, first of all, what is it? Fox is getting rid of SmackDown completely because if you read their mission statement on the whole thing, or their statement of releasing them after the contract's over, it's stupid because when they can't put SmackDown on Fox because they have some regular sports thing going on, they put them on FS1. Not everybody has FS1.
Right.
Now, if you have a Roku TV and you can go to the Fox app, you can catch SmackDown on there one way or the other.
Right.
But not everybody has that. They've done nothing to really market the show to where they're still making tons of money, as far as sponsor wise, but the amount of money they put into SmackDown to get it, the $2 billion, I'm sure they're like, well, we're kind of just breaking even right now. Well, you're breaking even because you haven't done enough to where you put them. I mean, it's like AEW being on TNT. Now it's on TBS. Now it's back on TNT. The Turner Network will switch it back and forth, right? And the thing is, you lose a lot of fans who sit there and go, well, I don't have FS1. I don't have this. I don't have that. So for them to go, and the other thing is, your show's on a Friday. Friday is a death knell. People are at high school football games. People are at,
That's true.
And what are ratings nowadays? If it's all about your social media imprint, WWE's already got that covered. But they want numbers that back up their TV. Well, their TV right now on this Friday is going to suck because everybody's at other things. There's other things you do on the Fridays than sit home and watch wrestling for 2 hours. So WWE they're going to go to USA or with SmackDown. They're going to USA or they're going to go somewhere else with it. I can't remember where else they said that was going to possibly go to. But
CW picked up NWA. I saw.
Well, they picked it on the app, not on their TV though. Yeah, on their app they picked it up. Now they're picking up NXT for TV. So that's
really that's a good pick for them.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes with that. And of course, Raw is possibly moving to a different network as well because
different day I hear, and they're thinking about switching it because they're losing out on Monday Night Football, and I just think you got to suck that one up when you've been on Monday night for over 35 years. You just suck that up.
You can't compare to what you currently had, what you had in the Attitude Era when that was beating out Monday Night Raw. I mean, that was beating out Monday Night Football back in the day, But it was one of those things where wrestling was the top rated show, but now there's like billions of channels out there, right? Different streaming services.
Yes.
There's so many different ways you can process information to where, it's more about how many watches does a show get. And once again, in the short attention span lifestyle that we live in, people watch things in segments. So it's not like, I'll take Offshoots TV and I'll chop up into we'll do four subjects a show. I'll chop them up and put them as different segments on the YouTube channel just to see because no one's going to watch an hour and a half show to wait to see if we're going to get to what we're going to get to.
Yes.
So that's just life. I mean, that's the life we're living in right now. We have to adjust to people's watching habits. So look, whatever happens with SmackDown, I mean, would CM Punk be welcome there? Sure. I think he'd be a better fit for Raw because I think his brand is a raw brand. But we'll see what happens. I mean, once again, we're I kept thinking yesterday was Sunday because of pay-per-view. I'm still thinking pay-per-views take place on a
I
Sunday.
hate that too, by the way.
I know.
I love the fact they were on
So
Sundays. I really did.
so I keep thinking, yeah, tune in tonight. Well, it's not tonight. Damn it. So but but then again, I work on Sundays now too. So it's kind of like all right, life's changing.
Yes. Yes, I understand. But yeah, interesting things going on in wrestling. By the way, we're going to be covering wrestling depending on what your schedule works on. Obviously, as we move on the NFL schedule, we'll probably do a lot of wrestling and covering it. I mean, just 30.
Well,
See how easy the 30 minutes was. I mean, to
right.
talk about this, it's really. And I got like 150 other questions or things to talk about regarding that. Maybe we should start going on at 9:30 and do and then take it into. I mean, a half hour wrestling almost isn't enough in reality as far as coverage and everything. But because there's so many things to talk about, and just as much as we talk about on football, we'll go off, on a friggin' tangent. We can do that in wrestling as well. So interestingly enough, but by the way, I was Thursday. No, but you were on Thanksgiving? You were on air on Thanksgiving. I remember I was listening to it, and I know I have no life. I was watching Las Vegas. They have some people who do things on Las Vegas Live. I know I need a life.
Tune into this Thursday because you think CM Punk going to WWE was made everybody on my show happy? Oh no. We were talking about it last night on our group page, and man, there are some hurt feelings. There are some pissed off people. It's gonna get crazy this Thursday. We're probably gonna paint each other for about 2 hours and then come back and go, "What? We love each other, man. We're sorry." But
interestingly enough, but before we segue into football, I want to know what your opinion is on this. Besides the CM Punk, he's there and everything else, the negotiations for that had to. Triple H had to say that BS that you were pulling over in AEW is not going to go over in here, and I'm talking about the press conferences and all the BS and drama that he drummed up just because he was talking out of the side of his mouth. Okay. Do you think that there were conversations about, hey, that crap is not going to go over here? I think they almost had to, don't you think?
I think here's the thing: at those press conferences they do at the end of the pay-per-views, that's when Triple H shines. That's when you see a well-groomed individual who knows how to handle the business aspect of this.
Absolutely.
And
watch the press conferences.
Yeah. I think that's where he shines the most. I think he can take a look at Phil Brooks, sit him down, and go, listen. He said this last night, by the way. He's like, look, it's been 10 years almost since you were last really
9 years. Yep.
People change in 9 years. If you don't change, then that's a problem.
Right.
And you know what? Maybe back then he was at the other company, inmates were running the asylum. We don't do that here. I mean, we are under the control of a different company. This is not Vince McMahon owned anymore. This is TKO. This is Endeavor. This is UFC. This is WWE. We're all a conglomerate now. So we're all about traveling the world. We're all about making money. We're all about expanding expanding this brand further than it's ever been expanded before, and it's been expanded a lot. So
absolutely.
So
from the old days of the territory to where it is now is huge.
So if you want to be a part of that, you're more than welcome. You are talented. You have the skills. You have the drawing power, and we can help you with that. Because what you were 9 years ago is not who you are now. Now,
at least we hope you're not.
I mean, your attitude might still be there a little bit. Maybe we can play off that a little bit. Maybe we'll need to. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen on Monday.
Whatever helps business.
But here's the thing. We still have WrestleMania. We still have the Royal Rumble. We still have SummerSlam. We still have Survivor Series. We still are the biggest drawing card out there. So, you want to be a part of that?
Let's do some business.
Then let's do business. If you are too worried about bridges that were burnt and everything else, and just and still butthurt over the fact that you never main evented a WrestleMania, and if you're still upset about how creative treated you back then, the fact you never got an ice cream bar and all this other crap that you threw out there for so many years, you know what? Then maybe this isn't for you.
Exactly.
But we're here in Chicago. People are expecting, but people don't know. People think, but they don't know. People are making speculations. People are saying he's not going to show. What if? And you create the what if. It happened last night. Now, where do you go from here? And once again, this all comes down to the fact of, listen, you are 9 years older than you were then. So clearly your body's got a lot of wear and tear on it already. May not use you every show. Might not use you every month. I mean, we have so much talent on our roster right now, and we only have 5 hours to fill. So we have other people on this that are younger, hungrier, and faster, and trying to get their names out there. You can help us, or you can hinder us. Which do you want to do? Absolutely. So I think for the greater good, because he's out of options. He's out of options, really.
Pretty much.
I mean, money-wise, he's out of options. No one's going to pay him what he thinks he's worth elsewhere. So why not go to the biggest company out there, mend all the fences you can, do what you have to say, look, I have to rebuild my career. I have to rebuild my stance in this industry, because right now it's tarnished. I did a lot to hurt it. Other companies did a lot to hurt it. But here's the thing. I need to, y'all screwed me over when I left here 9 years ago, but I wasn't necessarily the best soldier either. They both have to learn to agree.
And that just proves the point that the drop the mic segment was perfect for the time, but the time is not now. So that's kind of how it kind of works.
I mean, again, Triple H is not the authority figure on TV. He's the authority figure backstage.
Absolutely. And he if anybody can control it, it's him. So that being said, in the green room, it's the fine co-host of this program. I don't care what you have to say, Cuervo. Look at that picture where you're up there pointing. I know you hate it, but I love it. So that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. It's you. It's good to see the fine co-host. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys, and I think I came in at a good time, because enough with this wrestling. Are we a wrestling show, or are we a football show? What are we doing here?
We are wrestling the show until the football people show up outside, because we know some of the people are not into the wrestling portion of it. So it is a good segue to bring in. We were just talking, maybe we'll come on a half hour earlier than 9:30 and talk a little wrestling. But during the off season, we'll be talking a lot of wrestling, a lot of football, even because football going all year long is a big thing as far as what's going on, week to week, as far as that is concerned. So I'm glad you're here. How you doing? By the way, everybody in the pick'em went 3-1. I was this close. I was this close to picking Green Bay. I was this close to doing it, and I would have. But I just couldn't. I just couldn't do enough to pull the trigger, because they did not play well the week before, and the Lions just find a way to grind it out. Well, it's almost like they had their Thanksgiving turkey before they hit the football field. They were flat the whole damn game. And say whatever you want about how well the Lions are. The Lions are one of those teams where you can say, hey, can they bounce back? And the Lions, I think, can. You look at some of the other teams that are in the NFL and say, can they bounce back? And, well, depending on who the opponent's going to be, but at the same time, you still got to show up. And I think the Lions are one of those teams, don't you think?
Well, we're going to find out, because, just like we do on this show, and just like, a lot of programs that talk football, what do we say? We say that this is the time right after Thanksgiving's when we find out who are the true contenders and who are pretenders. So
Yep.
we're gonna find out, are the Lions for real? Because December time is when you need to be playing your best football. And if the
Without
Lions start
question.
struggling, if they start struggling, then then obviously there's something missing there. But
And
you
could they be a victim of, like the Jaguars are, falling for their own hype? And I always worry about that, where teams that have not been around for a while, that start believing their own hype and don't always bring it. They think if they show up, they can win. And I don't think the Lions are that kind of football team where they can just show up and win. Heck, they're not the 49ers. They're not Kansas City. We'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, these are not the teams where you can just show up. You got to come out and bust it down, balls to the wall, week after week. And the Lions, are they capable of doing it? Yes, they are. Now, interestingly enough, since I have been doing nothing for the last 4 days, I watched the Barry Sanders documentary. If you haven't watched it, it's over on Amazon. It says Bye Bye Barry, and it's not necessarily. I don't want to say it's necessarily a documentary. It's just a recap of how great this frigging guy was, and before he hung it up. As much as we all love Walter, he finished second behind Walter at that time. He would have blew Walter's yardage and everything out of it if he played a normal career in the NFL. He bowed out after 11 years. If he would have went on for 2 or 3 more years, he would have blew Walter's record out of the water. That having been said, we also see what kind of franchise the Lions are, and they're not used to winning. They haven't been there and done that, except for 91, and then I think it was 94 when Barry was there, when they were getting close there. They haven't been there. They haven't done that. I think that's a huge thing for the Lions as far as where they are today compared to where they ever been, is whether or not they can even reach what they did back in 91 and I think it was 94 when they made a run for the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing that documentary too. I saw the preview for it or whatever, and I wasn't sure if it was out yet. So it sounds like it's already released, and I don't know if it's like in episodes or it's just one.
No, it's just a one show deal for the Barry Sanders, and it's a good. It's a good watch if you like history and you like the Lions, but just football in general. Guys that paved the way and Barry Sanders was one of those dudes without question.
Yeah, well, I definitely appreciate the history of the game, so I'll be watching that one for sure.
Yes. But that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We had the games on Thanksgiving. No great big surprises except Green Bay. So that begs the question, and I'll throw this to Trey, and then Cuervo, you can follow up. Is Green Bay one of those teams that are beginning to find their niche at this time, which is the most important time, November, December, mostly December, but you have to pave the way in November? I threw that one to you, Trey Mac.
I'm going to do the Cuervo. I'm sorry. Look, I just think Green Bay got up for the game. It was actually a nationally televised game. I think Detroit, may have taken the game too light because, Green Bay hasn't shown a whole lot of promise this year, and it bit them in the ass. I mean, the thing could have happened to Dallas with Washington, okay, but it didn't. So, I mean, I think you have to. Detroit's never been in a situation before to where they control their own destiny. They haven't been
absolutely
ever. So the fact that they blew this, there's got to be a wake up call to them and say, guys, we got a tough schedule here in December, because you can win November all you want. You got to win December.
Yes,
and I can say that about my team right now. Yeah, you can win November all you want, but it's just the games at the end are going to matter, and 2 of those are the Lions and the Eagles. So you got to beat them as well. I mean, much as I can bask in my own glory of the Cowboys beating the Commanders. That's a big whoop. But
I'm sorry I gave you hell about that. By the
yeah,
way.
that's fine. But here's the thing: they did what they were supposed to do, though. Take on a bad team and
Absolutely.
destroy them. So you put up 35 points extra against them. That's fine. I mean, do it. If you have the means to do it, do it. And they did. And by the way, I was going to talk about this to you guys. Let's get you off the Green Bay Packers thing for a second. Deron Bland, obviously, we know what he did, which is a major feat in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And knowing that Dallas already has that other guy who's hurt and they're paying him a lot of money right now. And I know that this is Sonny off to no end, but anyway, yeah. But here's the thing: Deron Bland's here for another couple of years. What a hell of a bargaining chip you may have to trade. I mean,
do you know his contract situation?
Not really.
At all?
Okay. He was a rookie last year, and I think he's got like a 3 to 4 year deal. So, and it's damn near next to nothing. So,
yes,
you could either stick him. If Gilmore's only here for a year, I have no idea. You put him on the other end of Trayvon Diggs, or if you have Gilmore for a little bit, and you can possibly move Deron Bland somewhere else, pick up a number 2, maybe number 1 if someone's that desperate. I mean, that's a hell of a bargaining chip to have right now, and I think that's something that they should really look at. As far as after this year, regardless of what happens with him, he might get another pick 6 for the end of the year. He's still got 5 games left, 6 more games left.
Without, yeah. But here's the thing about that, though. Really, really quick to interject. That guy, I don't think you live and die by Gilmore on the other side. I think you have to live and die, depending on where the Dallas Cowboys are going to be going for their future. I don't think Gilmore needs to be part of that future. If anything, the bargaining chip is Gilmore more so than Bland.
But once again, I'm not sure what they have Gilmore for a year, for this year, or for anything. I know that Deron Bland's here for a couple of years, so you can still. And you're paying.
And Jerry will run that rookie contract till it runs out before he pays.
Yeah. So I think now, once again, I mean, it depends where both sides are. If Deron Bland is going to say, "Look, man, I own the NFL record for pick 6s in 1 year, pay my money," or he's like, dude, I got where I'm at because you got a solid defender on the other side covering. I'm the Larry Brown of my Deion Sanders year kind of thing,
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
And once again, Larry Brown went somewhere else, and guess what happened? Nothing.
Yep, just exactly.
So I mean, you benefit from.
We're getting close here, Trey. You and me, we're almost getting close with this.
We'll separate here eventually, but I have no doubt. But I think if we're all about doing business, which the NFL is, Jerry's all about doing business. I think you look at in the offseason, what's he worth? Because you're not going to get rid of Trayvon Diggs. You can't get rid of Trayvon Diggs. You're paying him too much. So
exactly.
So now, what's out there? I mean, what would the Commanders pay right now to have him on their team? Yeah, they might have, and they might have a really good draft pick here coming up here in April.
Yeah, I go back and I look at the game last week. I mean, obviously, Lions, Packers, Green Bay showed up the week before, 23-20 over the Chargers. We don't know who the Chargers are, right, Cuervo? I mean, this is a team that can't decide who they want to be. Losing to Pittsburgh by 4 the week before that, but blowing out the Rams, which at the time the Rams weren't really anything, and losing to the Vikings the week before that. This is a team that, well, if you go by the Chargers, if you go by the Packers, well, the Chargers, again, we don't know who they are. The Lions, had the Thanksgiving meal before the game instead of after, it seems like, or just decided to overlook them. This is a team, Green Bay is not a team that you want to overlook, because that's how a franchise finds their guys. And listen, Jordan Love's been playing out of his mind for the last 2 weeks. Well, what do you expect? Jordan Love, supposedly learned from a GOAT in Aaron Rodgers. So when you're looking at Green Bay and where they are, the last 2 games, winning 2 good games, Depleted teams, if you want to call Lions depleted, they don't play well on Thanksgiving anyway. So, it's not necessarily a big thing. What do you think the chances are for Green Bay, understanding where the NFC sits right now?
I mean, I think that they caught Detroit at the right time. If you're Green Bay, just because the way Detroit's been struggling lately. I mean, for them to, I think it was more the Bears melting down last Sunday than it was Detroit coming back in that game. I think it was more the Bears beat themselves because they.
Good point.
Because that's just what they do. So, that being said, I think what we're seeing right now is just, like I said, Green Bay, feeling good about themselves. They beat the Chargers last week, and then they come in on Thanksgiving Day, take care of business. And that's exactly why I was that close to picking Green Bay as well, is because just the way that the Lions struggled last week against, one of the worst teams in the NFL.
And they've been struggling towards the end of the game. Obviously, against the Bears, what they had to do to come back to beat the Bears, which, I'm just going to say it, and you might agree, that was just a fluke. That just don't happen usually in the NFL unless you're the Bears or your franchise in turmoil right now that they can't decide what direction they want to go to. Do you think that the direction of where the Packers are, do you think that what we've seen in the last 3 to 4 weeks from the Packers have sold the upper management to Jordan Love's going to be our guy?
I hope so. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think he's that good, but if the management believes that he is, hey, right on. Then you go ahead and you give him a big deal. I'd love to see him for the next 20 years. I'm all about it.
Yeah, that you actually kind of led on to what I was thinking is that for the next 10 to 15 years, is Jordan Love going to be that guy that can stand in and be the Brett Favre and be the Aaron Rodgers, or even go back to the days of old Packer quarterbacks? Will he be able to stand up to the test of time of what greatness is? And that's a lot of pressure in today's world, I think.
Yeah. I'm hoping he's more of like a, Packer legend, Don Majkowski. That's what I'm hoping.
If you don't know the name, that was one that did not work out for the Green Bay Packers. But yeah, I get it. Yeah. So, all right. So
Trey's got a minute. That guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
This guy.
On Cuervo, what do you think about the reports that Jim Harbaugh might be interested in the Bears job?
Let's do it.
Interestingly enough, during that game, I was watching the game. If you were in our chat room,
we do know.
Yeah.
You would.
I know. I spoiled it for you.
Spoiler alert.
You want to talk about a guy that or Michigan in the direction of where they are takes that contract that they just signed Harbaugh, and seeing what that young cat who I forget his name, who can step right in and coach this football team and do it very well. And he's done it for the 3 games that he'd been quote unquote suspended, and they played well. They respond very well. I was still nervous up until that point that interception happened at the end of the game. But talk about a guy that has I don't want to say has control over it, but what I always say, he is getting those players to buy what he's selling, Cuervo. So Michigan, I think, is hoping for Harbaugh to make the jump so they don't have to pay the contract and just have this guy just slide in and be the head coach of this football team.
Yeah, and there's a chance that he still serves some sort of suspension. The NFL's already come out and said that it's him taking a job in the league is not going to be a safe haven for him, which that's bullshit. Something between the NCAA and the NFL that they made an agreement on, whatever. But
stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. But real quick, little side note are we getting Obi today?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I bashed him a lot yesterday with his Ohio State Buckeyes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him on. I haven't talked to him about if he was going to show for the show.
Okay.
Why? What you got?
Now I just if he comes on, I wanted to, tell him, hey, played a great game, but in the end, the Big Blue got it done. So
Yeah, I'm just wondering about that coach. 3 years in a row. He joins the first year, loses, and then second, now third. I mean, you want to talk about a guy, and I don't know if you saw the footage, a guy depleted, walking off of that football field, that being the head coach of the Buckeyes. That guy was depleted. You could just see it. He's just like, God, I can't win the big one. And Lord knows, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I've always been in the position where I can't win the big one. This is going to be a story that we talk about, Trey, here for the next 6 to 8 months.
Hey, look this way. Matt Cannon's looking for a job.
By the way, we will get Bryce a little bit later on in the show and talk about his Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they in action today, or are they on the bye?
Steelers. They're playing.
I'm looking at my background and I don't see them. Where are they?
They're up top playing the Bengals.
Oh, got it. Bengals. Yeah, Bengals. Oh, what a great time for him to get the Bengals, by the way. Anyway, but that's another story for another day. And it is the NFL. As we are talking about what's going on, just to kind of let you know, the two hosts of this show, that being me and Cuervo, on top in the Pick'em League. We've been doing this a long time. I don't think we've ever been on top at the same time in the Pick'em League, Cuervo. You and I right there at that number one spot. So
first.
Yeah. Oh God. After 2 years of what I've been putting out there and where I'm at, so I'm very happy. You've always been in the standing, which makes me want to backhand you anyway. But that's another story for another day. So we're up on top of it. And today's games, and I was talking, everybody had the same picks for the first 4 games. So I only put the games that are on today on the side here. I didn't put Thursday's games up. They're done. They're gone. So I think today there could be some separation depending upon the games and what anybody is talking about, because there are some tough ones, and whether or not someone's going to take a stab and go, we're going to find out. But let's start with the one that's up there. That one right there, the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. God, I hate the Saints. And sorry, Z, I hate the Saints. Because guess what? What has ended up happening? I wish I would have said it out loud, but I always thought about it. I said to myself, and I might have said it out loud, if the quarterback situation in New Orleans is not going to be good, we're going to see their wide receiver, their superstar, not show up. And guess who's not in the lineup this week? One, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas will not be playing this week. And one has to ask, if they had a decent quarterback or had a decent record or been in the friggin' running for anything, would Michael Thomas be out on the football field? So, Cuervo, this is the biggest thing that, as soon as I heard it, I hopped into the picks and I went to the other side. I'm on Atlanta. I have no reasoning except for the fact that right now the Saints are defeated, and that move by Michael Thomas is one of the reasons why you can see that. I don't know. Am I off in left field when I take a look at what Michael Thomas has been doing for the last 4 years of his career with crappy quarterbacks just not showing up? I think that's what we're getting here.
Well, yeah. I mean, but, Thomas has also been hurt a lot too. So, he doesn't really contribute like he needs to. He's been hurt for past 2 years now?
Michael Thomas, that's who I'm talking about.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, are you asking about his production or?
No, I'm asking, is this anything anybody ever didn't know about it? I mean, is he? That's my question. Is this guy really hurt, or is Derek Carr not the answer, and he doesn't want to catch the ball for him anymore? And that's where I'm at, because that is who he is. And I'm not saying he's not a superstar, because if this guy had a Tom Brady, had a consistent quarterback that got him the ball, we would not see him on the injury report as much as we are seeing him where he's not going to play.
I don't know. It seems like Thomas is one of those
divas.
Yeah, kind of like a diva. When things aren't going exactly how he wants, it just causes problems type guy.
I can relate.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because I mean he has been producing this year. It's just
Yes.
I mean, you haven't heard are there, and Z would be the one to ask if he showed up. I don't know. Is there kind of like some sort of
a knee injury. It's supposedly a knee injury, but the effect of it. But here's the interesting thing about that. When you're looking at the Saints and where they are, they're 5-5 up on the season. Listen, this is not the worst record as far as the NFC that we could see for teams that are going to make a stride for the playoffs. This is not the worst position to be in. There are other teams that are worse that people are still talking about that are not out of it. Now you get the Falcons this week. Now, granted, you're on the road. If you're the Saints, you're in Atlanta. I don't know if that means anything, but what it means to me is that when you are looking at who Derek Carr now can only throw to, he's got really only one guy if you take Michael Thomas out of that equation. And what is Atlanta going to do? They're going to double down on their biggest threat. Now, that being said, depending on what Alvin Kamara and where he is at, where is he mentally? Because guess what? That guy's been absent, even though he's been back in the lineup after he served his suspension. We're not hearing Alvin Kamara, chants in reality. We're not seeing the highlights where you go, oh my God, this is Alvin Kamara again. I mean, looking at that. So that I'll just say shit-eating grin that's sitting up on Trey's mouth. I'm going to throw that to you when you had a shit-eating grin, just right there. What is your take up on the Saints as they take up on the Atlanta Falcons this week?
Well, I don't necessarily buy into the whole diva thing. I don't think a player in the NFL sits there and worries about not catching a pass from their quarterback because they don't like him. Because once again, this league is all about numbers.
You don't think that happens?
Well, okay, let me finish. Jeez.
I'm just asking you to clarify.
For someone who wears a Santa beard and thinks that you're going to be almighty, God Almighty over there. I mean, give me a minute, Jesus Christ. No, look. Here's the thing. Numbers equal contracts, right? The amount of numbers you put up gives you a bigger contract to the next team you go to. Now, whether or not Michael Thomas goes somewhere else after this, I have no idea. Whether or not, but so I don't think he's going to sit there and shit on a quarterback he doesn't like because, he's not getting his way. I just don't think that Derek Carr's that good. Okay, and
I agree with you there.
And I think the Saints don't know what to do. I mean, the Saints have got a situation where they don't have what they used to have. When they had a solid quarterback like Drew Brees who can muddle through mediocrity. They don't have. They're going through mediocrity right now, and they have a quarterback who can't deal with it because he dealt with it in for the Raiders and didn't do well with it there either. So I think you're just dealing with right now a team that doesn't have an identity. And right now,
I agree.
And they're taking on a team in Atlanta today that clearly has the same issue with a rookie quarterback. So but they're a lot hungrier. And I mean, they're willing to go through their mistakes to get to the resolution that they want to get to. The Saints get stuck in their mistakes and they get stuck. And then we sit there and go, how's this team win? It's like in Bull Durham. How we win 5 games? It's a miracle. It's a miracle. I mean, it's kind of like that right now. So
yes, exactly.
And I think whether you like Derek Carr or Michael Thomas or whoever else, the fact is they're something good. They're not any good collectively. And collectively, that's how you're going to win these damn games. It's not just one player. It's not Michael Jordan. It's not LeBron James. It's a lot more than just those. When back in the day when you could take Michael Vick and 10 other guys and try to win, even he couldn't do it all together. So, it is what it is. And right now the Saints are going to suck. And that's why Z can put the Aints bag on his head and just continue on doing what the Saints fans used to do back in the 80s. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, put the bag back on. I don't know. I thoroughly disagree with you, but that should be no great big surprise. I think Michael Thomas is that guy. I think Michael Thomas is that guy. He doesn't like you. Listen, listen. And now, granted, this is only an assumption of what I think of who Michael Thomas is.
As you
Michael
Thomas is. That's you sitting in your couch, the thing that you're an expert, right?
Absolutely, with no freaking experience. I have no business, saying it, but. Cuervo, this is not the first time we've talked about Michael Thomas. Okay, this is something that we've seen for the last 3 years from this guy. And, I'm not going to say this guy can't be a superstar because I think he can be. I think there is whether it's lack of communication or chemistry or whatever, he doesn't have, to me, he doesn't have that voice that says, give me the damn ball. What he does have a voice is give me the damn ball or I'll go away. And that's what I'm getting from Thomas. And I don't know. Are you on that side of that when you take a look at that in him as far as the Saints are concerned?
I think he does kind of have that attitude of, give me the ball, but what receiver doesn't? You know what I mean? Like every receiver has that attitude of I'm always open, you need to, I need the ball more or whatever. I just think for Michael Thomas, though, he does I do get the vibe that he kind of does play. I think he lingers his injuries a little bit.
Oh, God, yeah.
More than what they probably are. I don't know why. I don't understand it. Because from when he is in the lineup, he doesn't lack targets. Like Derek Carr will target him. And he will throw him the ball. I just think there might be a little bit of, now that they got Chris Olave, it's like, oh well, I'm not necessarily the number one dude anymore, and
that's a good point.
Maybe he's having a hard time with that. Maybe he's having a hard time with realizing that maybe he's not the number one option anymore. So, but all you're doing is hurting the team when you have that attitude.
I fully agree.
Play, man. Just go out there and play. That's the only way you're going to get paid, like Trey was talking about. The more production, the more money. But if you're gonna, be sour about the fact that you're probably not the guy anymore at receiver, then that's not the kind of guy you want on your football team.
I agree.
If you look back to years ago when Jerry Rice was finishing out his career, right? He's jumped from team to team to team at that point. But he knew his role. He knew he wasn't the Jerry Rice of the 49ers. He was the Jerry Rice that can still produce. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, if anything, he's just padding the stats. So, right now, if you were not the guy, just do your best to help yourself. But right. but do it in a productive way to where you can better yourself for next year, if there is a next year.
I get it, and I agree. I agree with exactly what you said there, Trey. The only thing that I look up on, and it goes back to what the production equals money, right, Cuervo? I mean, we talk about that a lot, but guess what? Does the money matter to Michael Thomas because he's been stealing money? I mean, making money enough to where he doesn't have to worry about whether or not he's going to get that big contract. He can just show up and play and get paid. That is who I think Michael Thomas is. I think he shows up, he gets paid unless he is 100% happy. And we all know, Trey, by definition, that is a diva. Just look at me. All right, so there you go. I think he's a diva. I think he's not good for the Saints. I think the Saints need to go into a different direction and see what they can get for Michael Thomas in the open market, which I don't think is any better than a fourth-round draft pick in reality. Based upon what we've seen from him for the last couple of years, I think that's the best that they could get for him. So they need to let this guy go and work for their franchise, not for Michael Thomas. I think that's the thing. That having been said, they take on the Atlanta football team, which is not good. They're 4-6? Yeah, they're 4-6. They're not playing well. But guess what? Now you got these Saints who I think are not all there mentally, and that's going to be the problem for them. They are not there mentally. They don't have Michael Thomas. They got some other injuries that are really not helping them. And take upon the fact that we're not seeing Alvin Kamara of who they are. So that is the reason why I'm going on the other side. I am taking Atlanta. So I'm going to throw it over to Cuervo. Who do you got in this game and why?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Saints. I just think, the talent gap, and then the how well the Saints are playing defensively, kind of leads me into the direction of taking the Falcon or the Saints.
So Trey, what is your actual? I noticed I did not say I'm writing it down so I don't repeat about 5 times. I mean, who you're going to take in this game. So who do you have in this one?
Make it loud and clear, Trey. Loud and clear.
Yes,
for Sonny.
Okay. Well, I originally picked the Saints. Then I switched over to the Falcons. But
after I'm done talking, I'm going
to stick with Atlanta.
You're going to sit with Atlanta. Okay, very good. So 2 on Atlanta. As far as that is concerned, by the way, later on in the show, Bryce is going to be coming on a little bit later. He said he was being later in the show, which usually means that he might make it at about, at least as far as our time is concerned, when
like
about half hour before the show. Yes, I'm just making sure people know that we're going to get Bryce in here today. It's important. Outside of Cuervo, he's the most important person that shows up here, and that even includes me. Even though I just start to show up. So there you go. And you're third. So there you go. I think you're even more valuable to the show than me. So there you go.
That's true.
Yeah. So there's no question. So that being said, by the way, when you're looking at there, third wheel, you're doing pretty good. Well, I'm fourth. I realize where I am in the pecking order of this.
You got Bryce. I'm number 4. It's okay. It's all right.
No. It's Cuervo first, Bryce second, you third, me fourth. That's what I'm saying. Listen, you've created more of a value of the show than I even do, and I show up every week. So there you go. That having been said, I want to talk about the status of the NFC South before we move on. Because this NFC South is a division of football that has almost defined the word weakness this year. I mean, a lot of times at the beginning of the season, Cuervo, we're excited about what the quote-unquote potential of what the NFC South could be, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's from Cam Newton when he played, whether it's some of the other guys that have come that are supposedly going to be the electric spark. The NFC South is a disgusting showing week in and week out in reality, especially when they're outside of their own division.
Yeah, the South, boy, it's not good. I can tell you that. There's really no other way to sum it up. I mean, the NFC South is a very weak division where, the best quarterback in that division, you could argue Baker Mayfield. Unless you're a fan of Derek Carr or the Saints,
yes,
or if you're into up and coming rookies, then you got Bryce Young. But that guy, I mean that poor kid over there in Carolina, man.
And Frank Reich's going to be one and done. I mean, that's pretty. I feel bad for Cam because I like him per se.
And then I don't think Atlanta has their quarterback yet. The guy that they want to move forward with. He's not on the roster right now because it's not going to be Heineke. It don't look very good for Desmond Ridder. So I think Atlanta is going to be in the market again this year, possibly.
Yeah, without question. Oh, without question. I mean, look at the South. 5-5. Who's on top? The friggin' Saints. And now we have granted, I don't know the extent of Michael Thomas's injury, but someone's got to win this friggin' division. And like Trey said, this is week 12. Do we still have 6 more weeks of this? I mean, imagine what you can do going on a run right now to put yourselves into the playoffs. And this would be the time that I would love to see a sighting of the real Michael Thomas, the guy that has the passion, that will play. And regardless of the situation, this is where you stand up and say, listen, I'm going to go to you, Derek, and listen, we need to get on the same page and start delivering the ball. Get the ball to me. Figure it out. But I'm not seeing that urgency and or passion from Michael Thomas as far as that is concerned, because you're right now on top of this division. You just got to kind of figure out how to beat the other two that are behind you. And I don't know, man. It's just really sad. Go ahead, Trey.
Can I just issue an edict real quick? Can we stop talking about the same division, the same teams for 30 minutes when clearly you're not interested in them? And we can move on to other games because other games seem to be a lot more important than what you're talking about right now.
Wait. This
you got on about Michael Thomas for 20.
This is the method of my madness. You don't understand it.
No, I get your madness. Trust me, it's maddening to say the least. Look, we're all right. The NFC South sucks. Bottom line, it's not next week. They suck. So fine, they got a game. The battles suck. Hey, a couple years ago, the NFC East was in the same division. Was in the same situation. Not one team.
I was doing the same thing when they were doing that. By the way, just ask Cuervo.
Right, I understand that. But so I'm just saying, look, you got the Saints and the Falcons. Two of us picked the Falcons. One of us picked the Saints. Okay, let's go on to Jacksonville and Houston. That's a better game to talk about.
By the way, Trey, that being said, who do you think is going to come out of the NFC South?
I don't care. I don't care. Then you're going to go to Super Bowl. I know that. I don't give a shit.
So, University of Georgia.
Fine. Listen, this is just the way that this.
I will take you. By the way, speaking of contracts and how much they don't mean anything nowadays, you get a college coach a contract like the coach for Georgia. Now you got A&M poking at him saying, "Hey, come coach for us." So like his contract's null and void if he decides with A&M. That's ridiculous. But
say that again. Maybe I missed what you're getting at.
Texas A&M is talking to the coach of Georgia right now to come coach for them next year. He's still under contract with Georgia, but college coaching contracts mean absolutely nothing. So you can just null and void and go elsewhere for more money. So and Cuervo, correct me if I'm wrong. That's with listen. They're giving him the opportunity to talk to him. He has to have permission to do it. And with all and I have heard those reports. And if they are being reported, this is something that Georgia has agreed to, if I'm not mistaken, Cuervo, right?
Well, I don't think Georgia would agree to that. I think there's something fishy going on here.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. I would love to. I didn't necessarily know that.
That's just my opinion. I don't think Georgia would just willingly let Kirby Smart go talk to other teams, especially
unless they want to get out of the contract, right? I mean, if they want to get out of the contract, which by the way sucks. Let's just be honest. I mean, they got a lot of money to pay. No, it doesn't necessarily suck because of the success. Don't get me wrong, but whether or not they want to pay the money, that's the next big thing that you got to think about.
Do they want to win? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you win or lose in this thing.
Yeah, it does. But let's be honest. If that job opened up in Georgia, every friggin' big name college guy that could be available would be in line for that position. But that's just, just kind of looking at that. So whether or not that all just depends on really where the relationship between Smart and the college is in reality. If it's a good relationship, they don't want him talking about it. And they're probably on his ass going, what the hell's going on here? I thought we had an agreement here. I think there might be a little bit of leak because, like you said, we're hearing a lot of it in the media, Cuervo, and I have been listening to the media for the last 4 days because I haven't been doing anything for the last 4 days. And I have heard that. So something tells me that there is something going on behind the scenes, obviously, that we don't know regarding Smart and the college and whether or not the college wants to move forward, that being Georgia, if they want to move forward with Smart, paying them money, or do you get something better, which, letting him go, that's kind of hard to fill in reality. What you think, Cuervo?
Yeah, I'm reading. Sorry. So yeah. I don't know. I really, from what I'm reading, what it looks like, maybe it's a authority thing, power within the program, which he has a lot of that already at Georgia, and he's
Right.
built this thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Listen,
how many
we
years?
weren't talking about Georgia 6 years ago, Cuervo, when in the national championship. We were talking them getting close to it, but not actually talking
Yep.
about it in reality. Now,
Right.
now it's been a every year kind of thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, interestingly enough, so we'll watch for. Thanks for the fork in the road there, Trey. Appreciate it. Always good to talk and get off on a tangent about something. So you still don't have an opinion? No, I won't get there. But all right. So the next game up on the slate here on the Couch Potato Sports Show is Jacksonville in Houston. And this has been one that I've been looking at since I have not had anything to do for the last 4 years. I think I probably picked this one apart too much. I don't know.
4 years or 4 days?
4 days. Well, some would say 4 years, but I haven't been doing anything for 4 days except picking this one apart. So up on the top of it, Trey, I'll throw it to you since you were so eager to talk about this game. So what's your take up on Houston and Jacksonville today?
Very eager.
Very eager. Better than
Houston,
the Saints.
Hey, look, Houston's for real. And I know you don't like the rookie quarterback thing, but
Whoa! Don't make an assumption on what you think I think about the Texans.
You say it every week. So look, I like what Houston's doing right now. They got that momentum. They're right. I mean, they're doing what they did. We talked about the measuring stick game 2 weeks ago and how they won that again with probably the last game that Burrow's going to play for the year. The fact that they beat that, they won last week. So they're riding that momentum right now, right? And I think that momentum is going to carry them over. Like you said, Jacksonville is a mirage, like you said, like the Cowboys.
I agree.
They're a mirage. So Houston can definitely see through that mirage, get through tonight, no problem. And it's going to set them up for something big here soon. Once again, you're taking them away from a better draft choice, but then again, you've got a better team on your hand too. So that's good. So at least that momentum is carrying in the locker room, and the city of Houston's really. I mean, let's face it. After the Rangers whooped Houston's ass, they need something back now. So I'm all for it. So I think they got the right person in place at quarterback to do that.
I agree,
and I think Jacksonville's in trouble today.
I agree with you. I think they got their quarterback. And listen, this is a guy. And you know me. I hate rookie quarterbacks. They all suck.
Yeah.
This guy. Listen, every once in a while, I'll give credit where credit is due. CJ Stroud is the real deal. This is an NFL quarterback. And I don't say that about any rookie quarterbacks until usually year 3, but something tells me he's picked up on something as far as what we've seen from him. Now, granted, are they beating San Francisco? Are they beating the Chiefs? No. But guess what? They're winning games that they should win if they're going to be a good football team. So
they beat the Bengals. They beat the Bengals when they were still competing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So they're doing what they need to do and making that next step. Normally, a Texans team are not going to beat the Bengals. So, but you wouldn't expect it. But what he's doing is he's winning games that maybe he should not be winning. So, Cuervo, when you're looking at Jaguars and you're looking at Houston, what are you seeing in this game to make me change my pick? And I haven't told you who I'm going to pick, but maybe what you'll say. Trey kind of tripped on something that I think makes me want to maybe switch my pick. So what do you think?
Well, it's no secret, Sonny. You're going to pick the Houston Texans to win this game. Okay, because you just don't like to be, you don't like to cheer for your own team. I don't know. You're very weird about it. But aside from that, am I wrong, Trey? Am I wrong?
What a dick. I mean, he just don't pick his own team. I mean, you got Bryce coming on here with a really bad Steeler team, telling the Steelers are going to do great. And let's face it, I mean, he's been right most of the time, more times than not. So,
So have I.
I'm a Jaguar fan, but I'm going to pick against them every week.
I'm not every week, but it's just when they can't carry the ball.
Which is every week.
Only I'm allowed to do that because that's how bad the Bears are.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I understand. So, but but then again, you are
The
talking about
Bears are who we thought they were.
yeah. So,
And we let Detroit off the hook. And
yeah,
they-
definitely. But I mean, what are you looking at this game? Where do you think this game is going to be won or lost in reality? And by the way, just a quick update as far as that is concerned. As far as the AFC South, the Jaguars are on top, 7-3. Texans right behind them at 6-4. But even though the Colts suck, they're 5-5, and they're still in the running to win this division. So this division is when we started the season, Jaguars. It wasn't even a thought, Jaguars. Not contraire, mon frere. This is getting close to the end.
Yeah, a lot of injuries for Houston. Damian Pierce questionable. Case Keenum's the backup, but he's questionable. Noah Brown, wide receiver, is also questionable. So
That one's pretty. That one's
that's
pretty.
a significant one. I would say Damian
yeah.
Pierce has not had the season we thought he would. I mean, he had a great rookie season.
Yes.
And now he's kind of fallen flat. But yeah, I'm gonna take Houston. I went back and I looked at what happened the first time they played, and it was not pretty for your Jaguars, Sonny. So
they dropped the ball. They overlooked the Houston Texans. They should have took them more seriously, and they didn't. And I ran on. This is the only game I missed for the Jaguars this year. Okay, I wrote on the Jaguars should be able to beat this football team. It's a rookie quarterback, for God's sake. Well, that rookie quarterback has shown up, and he actually bitch slapped the Jaguars all over the football field, which, by the way, he kind of opened my eyes to him. I did still put them in the back that they still kind of suck in reality because of my take on where they are as far as the schedule is concerned. But you got to take this game and replace the Bengals game because they do have the Bengals next week. It would have been more, better for my take if Joe Burrow was still there. But you just replace this game, and this is a game where you have to take a look at the Jaguars and ask, are they good enough to beat this football team? And not only that, they're on the road. They lost that game. They got bitch slapped on their home field. Okay. Now they're in Houston this week. And so this is going to be really interesting because this is what I think about the Jaguars. They play better when they are supposedly a good football team on the road. Okay. So when you look at where they are, as far as, the actual team is concerned and how they play, I like the Jaguars on the road. Because they play better on the road. They don't believe their own hype. They don't have everybody, kind of kissing their ass because they're playing at home. They feel the need to play, and they do it on the road. This is a good road football team as far as the Jaguars are concerned. So as much as I kind of looked at this, I've been back and forth with this, but I'm actually going to go with the Jaguars because they are on the road. But I will tell you this, for the last 3 weeks, Houston has been outstanding on third down. If they have another week of outstanding on third down, they're going to beat the Jaguars today. So, but that defense for the Jaguars are very stout. They're very quick. And guess what? I think a score 21 is going to win this football game. I don't expect a high scoring football game in this one at all, except maybe if the Jaguars realize that Houston Texans defense and the corners on this football team are not as good as everybody's touting them, if they can figure out how to beat them. So that having been said, I'm up on the Jaguars today, my own Jaguars. So that having been said, I want the official, you kind of hinted at who you're picking in this game. Are you still going to stay with Houston, Trey, or are you going to, since I, went the Jaguars, maybe was it enough for you to switch over and say Jaguars?
I think the first team to 20 is going to win. It's going to be Houston.
I think that, stop talking because we're agreeing way too much. What was that, Cuervo?
Trey is taking Houston, Sonny.
I'm not taking Houston. I'm on my Jaguars. They're a better road team. They play better on the road. So, and of course, Cuervo up on the Houston Texans. No, I'm going on the other side on that one. And by the way, just to let you know, they do picks with confidence picks, right, Cuervo? You know, some leagues where you
I
have
don't think we're doing confidence picks this
No,
year.
no.
confidence. My confidence would be about 4 or 5 in this one in reality. So I don't have the confidence, but I think if the defense shows up, they're gonna win the game. And I think and their defense has been showing up from week to week to week. So the defense might bail Trevor Lawrence out. By the way, he has not been playing very well except last week. Go ahead, Cuervo. What's that?
I need to correct myself on something. It does look like Dameon Pierce, the running back, is going to play for Houston, so that's a plus. Not a huge plus, but it is a plus.
Well, it's good to have him back into the game. I mean, in reality, you know, just because listen, that I think that guy's got is a spark plug. I love him. I love what, and here's the problem, which is really good in reality for Houston. Hardly anybody really knows who that guy is unless you're kind of digging in it like we do. You don't even know who this guy is. So, you know, but if you dig in and you go, listen, that guy needs to be in the lineup, that does help them. As far as that is
well, you know what though, Devin Singletary's doing a good job for them. He came down from Buffalo, and he's really picked it up in the backfield for the Texans. So having Pierce is just it's kind of a cherry on top for them.
Yep, exactly. By the way, I just want to, you know, since you got your Bears jersey on, of course we'll talk about them a little bit later. But do you think the Bears?
That's not a jersey, sir. It's a sweatshirt.
It's a hoodie.
Oh, hoodie, whatever. Good Lord. You both are wearing hoodies.
A jersey has a number, okay? I mean, a hoodie has one of these things on the back.
Hey, Trey, I like your jersey, Trey, that you're wearing.
Yeah.
I like your jersey, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll wear my jersey next week when they well, anyway, we'll talk about
shut
that.
up, okay? We're
let me get to my question, even though it's off the line out, because it popped my head and I got to ask Cuervo. Do you think the Bears are kind of maybe regretting the trading of Montgomery in reality for the Bears? You've seen what he's doing in Detroit, which is he's playing really, really well, by the way, in Detroit. David Montgomery.
You mean not being more aggressive in re-signing him? Because he just left as a free agent.
I know. I think they should have maybe gave him some money. I mean, because listen, he clearly is a pretty good football player, at least for Detroit. He's shown up for Detroit. Look at the stats. But don't dive too deep into him. Watch what he's actually doing out on the football field. I think they might be regretting not re-signing this guy.
Not really. No, I think the Lions gave up.
Too much to get him.
Yeah, I think they gave up too much to get him. But
got it.
That's just the way our GM operates, and I'm good with it because running backs are a dime.
You already got a running back, don't you? You already got a running back, right?
Well, Khalil Herbert is finally back for the Bears now. We'll probably see him tomorrow night.
Uh-huh.
They have the rookie Roschon Johnson from Texas. Dante Foreman has been picking it. You know, he's been the workhorse. However, he's not going to play tomorrow. So they've got.
And of course, you got Justin Fields too. So you got Fields there.
Who is a quarterback that has the ability to run. Right. Because I already know where you
does it most of the time, yes. And
I know what you were trying to say, but I'm gonna go ahead and squash that.
I thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, so I did get on. I wanted to ask that question 3 weeks ago. In reality, coming up to the Bears game, you know, when they played, so I missed out on that. So I remember shit away. Now, that being said, going to the next game that we have up on tap here, as far as this week's are concerned, I got to switch over that. Carolina and Tennessee. This is yet another game where you're seeing just crap out on the football field from both football teams. One's just throwing in the towel. We've seen that with what Tennessee is doing. And then you have Carolina who can't get out of their way. And, you know, this begs the question, do you think Wright wanted, Young at the quarterback position, Cuervo? Or was his mind on something else?
Do I think? Say that one more time.
Frank
Young.
Wright. Frank Wright. Yeah, Young. I'm sorry. Yeah, Young. So,
Do
you
I
think
Frank Wright wanted Bryce Young?
yes.
I got him.
No. That was an owner decision, Sonny.
I think you're right.
And that has been publicly reported that the owner basically made the pick for the organization. He said, "I want Bryce Young on my football team," so they drafted Bryce Young.
And do you think that we'll see Frank Wright as the head coach of this football team next year?
Yes.
You say no, and Trey says yes. Why do you think we'll see him?
No. I say no. He says yes.
That's what I meant. Thank you for cleaning that up, Trey. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. I'm here for you.
Yeah, you're the guy. So why do you think Frank Reich will be there next year? I mean, in reality, are they basically just going to give him time, or because I think this guy's one and done? I think he's been too outspoken against the organization. In reality, what do you think?
Well, and and that might be the case. So if he is one and done, he probably rubbed somebody the wrong way. He probably said something that was a little too honest for the organization to handle.
But I love that. Too honest. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I think because of the fact that everybody was kind of in agreement on what the plan was for this year, and that is the start of the rebuild by making the trade up to number 1 to get Young, and you go from there. You don't fire. I mean, my God. I mean, the Bears still have Matt Eberflus. All right. And so.
Well, is he going to be there next year?
No, hell no. I pray to God that they fire him and everybody underneath. Every single coach needs to go.
Yes.
Complete restructure of that coaching staff. Every single coach, every single position coach needs to go. You bring Jim Harbaugh in. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care what anybody says. If you think he cheated or not, you open the checkbook. You open the checkbook and you go get Harbaugh and you let him bring his crew in. Every single one of them. Every single one.
And with a weak division that they are in, if they do that, they are going to put themselves in the position for the next 6 years to where they'll at least be competing for the NFC North, more so than being the afterthought where they're at. So
the GM said it right. We're going to take the North and we're not giving it back if that move happens.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this. That being said, does Justin Fields remain the quarterback of this football team if they bring in John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh?
I think I'm saying there's a chance.
If they can't get nobody, there's still a chance.
What?
Bryce, listen, man, clean your ears, dude. What I said was, I think there's a chance.
I
telling me there's a chance.
Yes, son. I'm telling you there's a chance.
But when you say that, what comes to mind is listen, and when I say this, Trey, don't say a word. The way he molded Colin Kaepernick after the move was made, at that time, it was Alex Smith, right? Cuervo was Alex Smith, and Smith got hurt, and then he molded a guy who, let's just be honest, was not ready for the NFL. When you looked at Colin Kaepernick when he first came into the league, anybody who watches the damn game realized that Colin Kaepernick couldn't carry a tissue, never mind a whole football team on his back. I think that was all Jim Harbaugh, and where he got Colin Kaepernick as far as his progression at that time being one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And if anybody's going to be able to do it, Cuervo is going to be, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. And I think, he obviously can't talk about it.
Obviously,
but I think Jim has a genuine interest in coaching the Chicago Bears. Because if I'm not mistaken, Sonny, because You're you've been watching football longer. All right, you're a little more old school than I am. Didn't the Bears draft
He's just
Harbaugh?
older.
Yeah, they did. He actually didn't he play for. I mean, I think he actually played for them
Well, he
for a
played
little
for
bit.
the Bears, 100%.
They drafted
played
him. You're right. Yeah. So, interestingly enough, as far as where that's going to go, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into Monday Night Football when the Bears are taking on the Vikings. I did want to go on the sides. I'm obviously boring this guy up here on the right side of my screen, which would be everybody else. But that being said, getting to the game as far as Tennessee and the Panthers are concerned, Panthers 1-9, obviously just not there. I mean, Tennessee, could this be a game, I think, in reality that you could take a look at and ask, can the Carolina Panthers beat this football team in reality because of the nonchalant of the whole football team in general, whether it's the fact they're throwing guys out in left field or you're not going to get everybody 100% because everybody knows what's going on there. And so you get an opportunity for the Carolina Panthers to go up and play a team that will probably play at 3/4 today and get a victory in Tennessee. I threw that to you, Cuervo. He's redecorating over here, so I thought I'd go there first and then
I was told to shut up, so I'm just shutting up.
I was doing some reading, Sonny, but Harbaugh was not only did he get drafted by the Bears, he was a first-round pick. I've never looked into that, but now I know, and the more you know. But all right, Carolina, Tennessee, I'm taking the Titans. It's just that straightforward for me.
So you don't see where the fact that what Tennessee is actually doing, which seems to be throwing their games in reality, and just not they're the word I come is they're disinterested in playing on Sundays in reality because of what the future of 2024 is going to be for them in reality. I mean, so you don't see where Carolina can come out and get that one?
I don't. I just think that's just how bad the Panthers are. And again, that goes back to the argument of if Frank Reich is going to be back next year, because it kind of seems like, that kind of is the plan where they just do what they can to get, a better second round pick because they don't own their first round pick. And set themselves up to get some, a quality second round pick, unless they trade back into the first, which that would be a bad choice in my opinion. But but I don't run the Panthers. I'm not the GM. So but that's why Frank Reich will be back next year, I think, because it's all part of the plan for the rebuild. And you can't blame Reich for all the losses because that's part of the plan. Period.
You're saying if he is lost, he is going to be lost because of the disconnect that he has between ownership and what he may have said.
Yeah,
or
it would have to be
his
something
beliefs on
that Reich said that hurt somebody's feelings, and they find that.
Yeah. So that being said, are you done with the construction up there, Trey?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I gave up on
Okay.
it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to kick it over to you. Yeah. What do you think about this game as far as the Titans taking on the Panthers?
Well, both teams are about the same. I don't think they both have given up, but both of them are equally bad.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be the battle will suck, really. Both next number one. We'll see. But I'm gonna go Titans on this one because once again, I think Tennessee is a way better put together team, for as bad as that sounds, than Carolina. I've seen Carolina firsthand. And I've seen them get destroyed by a team that's a mirage, according to you. So, I think Tennessee is just a better team.
I think they're a better team, but the disinterested part has me worried about them today. I am going to take them today because they are at home and it's supposed to be a little bit wet over there. So I don't think they're going to be throwing the football a lot in reality. So that means we'll get a sighting of Henry in reality.
It's so hard to pick the Panthers for anything right now.
Well, this is true.
So
I fully agree with you, but I also fully agree with the fact that it's hard to pick the Tennessee Titans in anything because there is no chemistry for the football team at all anymore. And this is, I think it's with the moves they want to make and what they've put out publicly tells you a lot about where they are as a football team, going into the rest of the season. They know where they're at. They're at the bottom of the AFC South, for God's sake.
Look, the first 1 to 10 will win.
The first 1 to 10 will win? Okay.
Wow. Okay. I was going to say 13, but yeah, that works too.
All right. So 10. So I don't know what I think as far as that, but I am going to go just like you said, Trey, the better football team. Whether or not they drop the ball and don't show up, that's going to be the biggest question on whether or not that Panthers could win the game. So, that's one I'm going to reserve the right to change because there's still part of me that wants to take the Panthers in this game because of that reason, but they might not have enough to pull it off. So
it gets even worse because you got New England and the Giants coming up soon. Also, and let's face it, this is not a good week. This is not a good week for football.
No, because there's some bad football games going on today, and plus they're pulling out the couch potato quarter is not the the worst thing to be doing in some of these games. I think. More so than quote unquote overthinking it. And speaking of overthinking, all right. So the next game that's up on tap, as far as overthinking, I don't even know what to think. Who is that? What's his name?
This is Prince.
Prince. Okay. Now, before you got married, did you bring that dog into this one, or was it there before, or did you get it together?
No, she had him. She had him before.
Got it. All right. So you adopted that one yourself. So looks like he kind of likes you. So there you go.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
So
say hi, so
Prince, that's a boy, then, not princess. So.
No. Prince. Yep, named after the song, the singer of Purple Rain.
Anyway, all right. That being said,
what was that? What was that?
You have to be old to get it. You have to
again. The one thing about the singer Prince is that before he died, China from WWE, she passed away on my birthday, and this this would be like her one day. So everybody's going to talk about me. Everybody's going to talk about me and how I changed the world and everything else. Then the Prince is like, hold my beer. And he dies shortly thereafter. He's to trump her. So it's like, okay, so much for that. So.
That's interesting. Who are the most famous people who passed away on your birthday?
I mean, okay, well,
China, I have no clue. I haven't never looked it up.
Well, I got China, Rick Rude.
Rick Rude. Oh,
yeah, Rick Rude. Yeah,
my favorite.
Prince. He might be the 21st, so I'm not sure. But I'm also born the same day as Hitler. So I mean, let's face it. I'm under a bad cloud here.
No question. All right, so Patriots and Giants. This is a bad football game. This is a bad football game. But what that usually means, Cuervo? It's going to be a very entertaining football game because they're so bad. Oh God, yeah. You'll see score. I think you'll see scoring. I think everything is in play today. But Danny DeVito. I mean, what's his first name? DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Is he starting today?
Yeah, and he's actually pretty decent too.
There, so interestingly enough, so I'll throw it to you, Cuervo. Who do you got in this one? I mean, God, they're both. I cannot believe that we're talking about the Patriots being so bad.
Well,
I threw that to you, Cuervo.
Yeah, I know. As if it could.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it really is. My brain hurts, but they're going back to Mac Jones. They're going back to Mac Jones. Why? For what? What has he shown you that? Oh, I think you should be the starter again.
He looked good on the bench.
Well,
Yeah,
so I thought they were going to go with Zappy. I thought that was the idea. Maybe I missed. I obviously missed something. They are going. Is Mac Jones actually starting this game?
Yes.
That could be an honor.
You know, all them times during the show when Trey's like, "Why does Cuervo keep looking up and to the side?" That's because I'm looking at like the ESPN pregame because I'm getting updates as we're doing our show as well. And I saw it this earlier. It was Mac Jones is going to start, but they're going to mix Bailey Zappi in as well.
Cuervo, Sonny needs to put you down at the bottom so you keep looking up. You keep looking up at Sonny, so you sit there and go, really?
There you go.
He does that on a regular basis on this show,
Right.
as far as that is concerned. But so that being said, you know, they're going back to you know, Mac Davis. Oh, Mac Davis. Jesus.
Mac Davis.
Mac Jones.
Lord.
Mac Jones. Yeah, man, the old school is just coming out in droves today.
That's the guy that wrote in the ghetto. Wait a minute.
Mac Davis is the quarterback in North Dallas 40. So there, I got that on my mind. Anyway, by the way, great movie. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it because I believe almost everything that went on in that movie. That being said, who do you got in this one, Cuervo? I mean, it's a bad football team.
Oh God, are we still talking Tennessee, Carolina? I'm taking Tennessee.
No, we switched. We're over at the Patriots. We're over at the. You're pulling the Sonny. We're at the Patriots and the Giants.
It's just so many bad football teams. Right?
Updates are important, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know what Greg's talking about there. That's why I'm like,
I don't know what because especially with what you said about him last year, Cuervo, or last week, is that he should be in the running for Coach of the Year. Is what you said.
100%. I think I like the Giants to win this game. I just as much as we make fun of DeVito, he actually looks like he's picking it up a little bit. He's picking up the offense a little bit. He's learning the system, and look, for them to go out and beat Washington like they did this week, even though he got sacked, what was it, 9 times?
9 times. Yeah.
And then what Washington does? They turn around and they fire Jack Del Rio after having a 9-sack game. But because they lost to the Giants and Tommy, Danny, whatever DeVito you want to call him, he gets fired. He loses his job. He'll probably get picked up quickly by somebody. Hopefully, maybe the Bears, because we don't have a.
I was just going to say, I can see Jack Del Rio being the defensive coach for the Bears.
Yeah, even if it's just a fill-in for this season, because right now we're riding on no DC. Matt Eberflus is calling the defense. So, anyways, I'll take the Giants. I think DeVito's starting to get it, and New England's just a dumpster fire. So,
well, it's sad. It's sad as that is because it's Belichick, and you thought he could not create another Tom Brady, okay, but maybe guide him to where they're respectful, and they're just horrible all around. And what Belichick has been able to do over the years is be able to just go over the top of where they're bad and be so good in other places. We're not getting that this year. We're not seeing this guy sucks, but this guy's so much better. We're just not getting that. And the quarterback position, obviously the most important position out on the football field, week in, week out, every year. We're just not getting, even what a Tyler Heineke, for God's sake, in reality, out of their quarterback. So that being said, yep, I'm shooting it up to old Trey, who's dancing in his mind. Who you got in this one and why?
Oh, first of all, I don't think Belichick's even in this season at all. I think he is pretty much just melding in, saying, "Look, they're gonna make whatever decision they're gonna make with me, however they want to do it. So it doesn't matter. I know what my value is. It ain't here anymore. but I know what I can do elsewhere. If I go elsewhere, or if I just sit home and just sit there and get a job at ESPN, that works too, or NFL Network, whichever. I think Giants are going to win because, like I said, and I said this last week, and y'all kind of, or at least Sonny laughed at me about this. Tommy DeVito.
I always laugh at you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm always right. Once again, I am the manager of champions, although it's not
Yeah, we all know that.
Anyway, but I think Tommy DeVito showed me a lot during the Cowboys game, and he showed me a lot during his ass whipping that he took against Washington. And I think, look, he's fighting for his life right now.
There's no question.
He's fighting for his life, but he's making it work. He's working with a team that has nothing to offer, and he's making it count. You can't say that about, say, a guy like, I don't know, Bryce Young, who came into the league with everything kind of handed to him, and now getting his ass handed to him, and all of a sudden, what are they going to do? We don't know. So I think the Giants have a more upswing than the Patriots. I say that, and every time I damn near pick the Giants, they lose. So there's always that aspect. So
I'm right there with you. I
mean, I can't win for losing for that damn team. But I'm going to go with the Giants just because I think they have more upswing than the Patriots, which is hard to say because the Patriots are the Patriots.
Right.
They're not anymore, but they're still the Patriots. But it's like the Cowboys, but not anymore to some people. So it's kind of the same thing.
Well, I'm taking the Giants too, not because of anything I'm seeing out on the football field. I can't believe I'm about ready to say what I'm going to say, all right? Because I have a habit of just saying
real dumb.
They're usually dumb, but this week I think this might be the take. I'm going with the better coaching staff. I forget what's out on the football field. Okay, I'm just going to go with the better coaching staff. I'm going with the Giants. Now, me saying that sounds really stupid, but at the same time, I've seen what we are getting from Belichick and company, and we're just not getting Bill Belichick. So it's interesting you say that he knows his value. I don't even think this guy even knows what his value is today. Now, if we were talking 5-6 years ago, we know where his value is. But what is slowly happening, Cuervo, over the years, as far as Bill Belichick is concerned, and with the loss of Tom Brady, the Bill Belichick way is not what these younger players are buying into in reality, Cuervo.
No, and it's been like that for a while. It's been where the hard-nosed discipline coach is not the way, the method that works anymore.
You're right.
Which brings the whole Jim Harbaugh thing to the Chicago thing. He's a hard-nosed coach.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're right, Cuervo or Trey. But what he's been able to do
together.
Yeah, I'm trying to, what here's the difference between John Harbaugh and other coaches that are like him.
What about Jim Harbaugh?
Those younger people are buying into what he's selling because of the success. Now, granted, that's what Bill Belichick lived on, right? Bill Belichick, the success of the Patriots, it's my way or the highway. But when you look at Jim Harbaugh, he's kind of a younger version of a Bill Belichick being that hard-nosed coach, but enough to where they can get the job done. It's sort of like if you think about Andy Reid. Andy Reid is so old school, it's unbelievable. But he has a way of being able to mix it in together to get him to buy what he's selling. I think Jim Harbaugh right now is in a better position as a hard-nosed coach to get that done, sort of like an Andy Reid. What you think, Cuervo? Go ahead, Trey.
But Bill Belichick has one thing that no other person has.
I know.
That many more rings.
Yes.
Because you have that many more rings, regardless of how you got them, because you've been to that many championships, you've had that many more rings. The NFL as a whole, whichever network it is, will hold him to the highest pedestal there is, because no one is even near where he's at. That's why he gets the respect and the love that he gets, even on a bad team, because they look at that and go, he's done all he can do. He's playing the cards that are dealt, and they're not good. It's not a good hand. So that's why he gets a break with the NFL fans, more so than he does, or actually with the media more than anybody else. And plus, he's got the Northeast thing going there too, right? So
That's true.
The Northeast media eats him up, and that's why his press conference is so awesome, because he gives you absolutely nothing.
Right, exactly.
But yet everybody eats it up and goes, "Well, that's Bill for you," because they're not going to fight him on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, like I said, I go back and forth. Will he be coaching next year? Will he be in a network thing next year? I don't know. I watched him on the NFL Greatest 100 thing, and he is so insightful, and just the fact that he has a good television presence about him. I can see where he sits there and goes, you know what? I've been doing this for a long time. I've got all the records I need to get. I need to get. I can sit back and enjoy. I don't need the hassle. And maybe this year was a clear example of that. That's why he's going back to Mac, whatever his last name is, because he's looking at him going, I don't give a shit. I mean, if the owner wants to play him, let's let the owner say let's play him. I don't give a shit. I mean, I think
Bill Belichick, I don't give a shit. Imagine him on the NFL Today in a hoodie instead of a coat and jacket.
No. I've seen him. I've seen him in a coat and jacket on the NFL
sleeves
Network.
cut off.
I've seen him do the entire suit, suit and tie thing on the NFL Network. He'll dress for whatever job it has to be. Okay. So and as a coach, he's going to be him. As someone that's going to be on TV, he's going to do what they say because they're going to be paying him a lot. Okay,
right?
So
they will.
I mean, and that's why his value is so high because the league lets it get that way. Okay, because when you win that many championships, you can say what the hell you want to say. So. Hell, for the longest time, Tom Landry had. For a guy who's only had 2 Super Bowl wins, he went to 5.
Right.
So everybody was sitting and go, well, no one team's ever been to 5 until the Niners won 4 in a row, and they're going, well, So it's kind of like it's the league. It changes every year, every decade, every generation. It changes, and we all view someone differently. Belichick is put on that pedestal right now. He's going to be up there until probably he dies. And then when he dies, somebody else will come along, like a Frank Wright who's won 6 Super Bowls in a row with another team because he can do it with Carolina. It can happen, okay? I'm just saying.
Interestingly enough, as far as this game is concerned,
I'm picking the Giants, by the way.
And thank you for that. I was going to shoot, but interestingly enough, you hadn't made your pick, is what I was going to say. So I'm going Giants as well. In this one, what we'll see from Bill Belichick, we'll obviously be talking about it after the season happens. Will he be there? Where will he go? He did it. By the way, just to let you know, in May, he signed an extension with the Patriots. So that's another thing you got to. I know I see the shrugging of the shoulders. I'm just saying he did sign the extension. On whether or not what's going to happen, but Cuervo, I think Cuervo said it.
Look out that window. Everybody is signing an extension, okay? Is that price coming on?
I don't know. Go ahead and take over for just a second. I'll be right back.
All right.
Hi, Cuervo. Oh, he left us hanging here with half our
he just left us hanging here. So, all right, we're just gonna move on because we got a lot of games to cover, Trey. So, let's see. Next on the docket. We're going to have to go to – I got to pull the schedule up now because I was not expecting him to get off.
Sonny took all our fun away.
How about Rams-Cardinals? Let's talk Rams-Cardinals for a minute. Arizona last week.
Rams-Cardinals?
Rams and Cardinals.
Yeah. Rams and Cardinals. I'm trying to see where I have them because, once again, it's a different ball game now with Kyler Murray at the helm. Not saying that he's a deal breaker, but they're still the Cardinals, and they're still a suck team this year. So give me the Rams.
Yeah, I think I like the Rams as well. Last week they won. They beat Seattle, right? Yeah, they came back and they won that game against Seattle.
Surprised me.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
it's that time where you think I think I've got a feeling for who Seattle is, and I know Sonny doesn't speak well of Geno Smith, but I mean, I think there's. Let's see here, you got hey, dudes, I'm online. It's Obi. Rams for the win.
Yeah. Oh, so as soon as Sonny comes back, we'll have Obi.
I am back.
We'll have him bring Obi in. Oh, there he is. Obi's in
you
the
missed
green
it.
room.
No,
Yeah, we'll bring in. Oh, all right. So Obi is in the house. We were wondering if we were going to get. I didn't know how you would feel this morning after the disappointment. By the way, I want to ask you. That coach, when he walked off the field, I don't know how much you watched after the game, but did you watch him in the tunnel walking back? You want to talk about a guy who is defeated? That is your head coach of your Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, this dude is defeated, and this guy's only lost one game of the year, and he just cannot get past. Listen. I have had to deal with the Michigan Wolverines not getting past freaking Ohio State. I think it was the best hire in Ohio State history to that point. So that guy is defeated, Obi.
Guy pisses me off. That's what he's doing. I mean, Sonny, you know me. I think Cuervo knows me. I am a passionate Ohio State fan. And when we lose to that team up north, I get really pissed. And here's my thing. I was following a couple of Ohio State, Facebook pages and stuff like that, and I let loose. I don't know what it is. It just seems to me that this coach, Ryan Day, doesn't take this rivalry seriously. And for the last 3 years, this team has come in and they lack the attitude. And that's what I saw yesterday. They lacked attitude. They lacked, and there was a lot of people saying that, hey, Michigan wanted it more. I think they kind of did. And I don't know. And you tell me what you saw. I mean, you're a Michigan fan. Maybe, Cuervo and Trey, if you guys watched the game. What I saw from Ryan Day is that, and I hate to say this, and I hate to say, he coached not to lose. Not to
afraid.
Win.
I was gonna write it down.
And it just pisses me off that the last effing 3 years we have lost to that team up north. And it's so frustrating for me when I know damn well that we've had better players on the field the last 3 years than Michigan has. And I don't know what it is. And I did not see that part of him coming off and, walking in the tunnel. But one thing I did catch from his post game is like, the one thing that caught me was like, well, I think this team can play with anybody in the country. I don't care about playing with anybody. You need to win. Win these games.
You need to forget about anybody in the country. Beat Michigan. By the way, in the big house, would that have been such a big statement to go into Michigan with 107,950 people, 107, and beat them on their home field would have just skyrocketed his career and a mainstay at Ohio State.
And one of the things that I want you guys to understand is Ohio State fans have become spoiled over the last 7-8 years.
Yes,
of great quarterback play throughout the season and during this game. And except for this year, I'm sorry, Kyle McCord is not CJ Stroud. He's not Justin Fields. He's not Troy Smith. He's not these guys. He made that interception that he threw early in the game. My God,
that was bad.
That was bad.
And that might have been. That might have turned the whole game in reality, that interception. Never mind the one at the end, which was bad enough. By the way, that was a horrible throw too. But the one earlier is the one that set the tone for the game.
Well, the one at the end of the game, he was getting hit, and he was getting rid of the ball because he didn't want to take a sack. So I mean, okay, it's fine. I'll just say I'm over it. I'm done. I've done what I said. What I wanted to say. Congratulations to that freaking team up north. It's just I
really hurts your feelings, doesn't it?
Here's what I think is I hope whoever you guys play in the playoff, if it's Alabama or Georgia, beat the shit out of them.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. And so are you off the ledge? So that you're off the ledge. You're off the ledge. I can understand, but I can understand why you're on the ledge. You know, more so than anything is whether or not what the future holds. I mean, before we move on, so I'll ask, what do you think the future is? Do they get rid of him? Do they keep him? And if they keep him, how are you going to take it?
They'll keep him. He's got. I'm going to say this right here. In my mind, I think he has one more shot to beat Michigan. If he does not beat Michigan next year in the shoe,
yes,
he will be fired the next day.
Yeah,
he has one more year, and you know as much as I do of this rivalry game. It doesn't matter what your record is. If you can't beat Michigan, you're done.
Yeah, because you can't argue with the record for the last 3 years. No. You can't argue
with Michigan. If you can't beat Ohio State, you're done.
Yep.
Harbaugh 3 years ago, he was on the hook. If he didn't beat Michigan or Ohio State 3 years ago, he was fired.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. So, and I didn't help very much, did I? I was out in front of your house yesterday. Just thought it. Yeah.
Do you happen to notice what the color of the lights are?
Yes, I did. I did notice
who's
that.
The boss of the house?
There's no. By the way, I sent my picture over to her just to, jab you in the sides there, so she can put on her cover. She
looked at me right after the game. And she goes, "Go blue." She goes, "I'm sorry, honey, I love you."
Yeah,
at least you got that.
Yeah. Listen, I got to teach her how to trash talk a little bit more. So there we go. That's why I sent her the picture, because that's the game you trash talk on. So that being said, good that you're here. Always good to see you. Bryce is going to join us a little later in the show. That means probably in about 10-15 minutes, Bryce will be showing up here. And we do have a lot of games. And where were you guys at? What game were you talking about when I had to bow out for just a moment?
Rams and
Cardinals.
Man, I don't know, man. So I'm going to ask the resident Arizona fan. I don't know. How do you feel about this game? I mean, it's division game. I don't know. I almost took Arizona, but I didn't. I am on the Rams, but I'm this close to picking them because even though the Rams got out of it last week and they did what they did to get the win, which I'm glad because I picked them that week. I don't think the Rams are obviously the Rams of 3 years ago, but they've been able to muster out a win. They should be able to get this win against Arizona, don't you think, Obi?
They should. I think Aaron Donald, that's the key right there, Aaron Donald. And he seems to have the Cardinals number. And I'm sorry, I am not a Kyler Murray fan. I am not ever. I've never been a real fan.
Is anybody?
But he showed
his mama.
I think it was his rookie year when they played the Rams in the playoffs, and when Kyler Murray quit on his team, and
there's no question quitting
on
that
sideline. Done. I'm done.
Yep.
And when a team, when an organization has to put a clause in a player's contract that you will study film this amount of hours and not play video games, there's something wrong
There's no question. And by the way, the Arizona Cardinals are the wussest front office I've ever seen because they should have kept that in play. Forget about all the backlash that they heard about this, and let's be honest, this was a racial thing as far as that thing from other people's point of view. Had nothing to do with it. You've seen exactly what is going on with him in reality. And they said, no, we need you to spend some time thinking about this football team outside of what you do. And by the way, we're only asking for 4 hours. Remember that? That was the stipulation.
Wow.
4 hours. Oh, everybody just lost it. And now you're seeing exactly the reason why in reality. Because guess what? Not only that they were only asking for 4 hours, this guy hasn't played in forever. And for him to pick up a playbook to understand what the playbook is about, it's obvious he still hasn't done it. Yeah, I said it, and I don't care what anybody said. It had nothing to do with it. They wouldn't do this to this guy. They wouldn't do bull crap. The guy didn't do it, and they stood up to him and said, no, you're going to do it our way, not your way. And, and they backed off of it. But what a wuss organization the Arizona Cardinals are. And they should have stood up on that and said, just to make the point to stay on it, because sooner or later it would eventually come out that it was probably because he's not studying the playbook. And listen, you're right, Obi. They wouldn't have put that in the contract if they did not see it in film. Yeah, why did you go that way? That play calls for you to go left, not right. What are you doing? So they didn't put it in there because it was just, we're gonna say we need more time. They seen why, and that's why they did it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
if Trey wants
to say about that, yeah. Oh no! Now he's over there.
Listen, before you have a heart attack, Sonny, just understand this. Maybe in Madden football, that's a better playbook than what the Cardinals actually have. I'm just saying. Maybe he can win better that way.
Maybe they should do it like in the wrestling where they had the stand-in GM on Raw and someone else just called the plays and make it.
Okay, I didn't mention wrestling talk here. This is
I'm just saying so you understood where I was at. Right. So, but anyway.
I'm just saying maybe he looks at the Madden playbook and go, "Well, I can play with this. I can play with your shit."
This will work. So now that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. We got on the man. Let's do it, sucker. And I can always dig it. Damn right, I can always dig it because when he comes on the show, we just seem to elevate to even better. I mean, we're pretty good already, but the guy that brings it on home and makes it a whole show. It's the best smile on the internet. It is Bryce from Brooklyn. What's up, my brother? Good to see you.
He's in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not up in the left corner, Bryce. I mean, isn't that nice? I mean, so hey, let's put you there. Hey, there he is. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Right next to a Browns fan. Nice.
I don't know.
I gotta ask Bryce.
Hey, Sonny, you can always change the screen and put him on the center square.
I could do that. Yes, I could. Yeah.
I gotta ask Bryce. So in your intro, where we're there, it was when you were wearing a New York Yankees hat, and you were kind of sitting here and you had a pouty face.
That's one of the best pictures ever. This right there, it just reminds you of that. Anyway.
Oh, Bryce, I like
do you remember that New York Yankee hat in that picture? Do you remember what he's talking about? Why you were wearing the what's up with that? He's very hesitant, by the way.
I was because I go through phases in life.
Mm-hmm.
I like to wear a baseball cap every now and then. I live in New York City, so I was out with friends at a little party and was listening to someone talk and just was listening to them talk.
Mhm. You can't wear a Boston hat when you're hanging out with friends in New York.
I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving.
I did.
I was super hesitant to actually have to come on this show today. But I don't run and I don't hide. I knew I was gonna have to come look at Obi's silly grin and almost on my screen after watching that game last week. I will give the Browns credit in this. We haven't won in Cleveland since 2018. They have officially arrived at a semi-rivalry. And when it's a rivalry when after the team plays you, they have to get rid of somebody. And the Browns have finally stepped into rivalry games. Welcome to the party. You're about 50 years late, but you finally made it. Good job.
Hey, I have to say that, but you've been saying about getting rid of Canada for a while.
2 years. 2 years since week 3 of last year, he was saying get rid of him because he's seen what happened in week 1 and 2. I remember it.
Matt Canada, I came on this show and I said Matt Canada should have been fired after the 2021 season.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen enough. As somebody, you watch a lot of Steeler games, you see them have the same issues over and over again, even that first year. And this is when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback that while he was on his last leg was still leading them to all these come from behind victories, but yet they still kept having the same problems schematically. It was time to get rid of him. They should have done this a long time ago.
10 points. 10 points. That alone, you should be bitch slapped for not being able to score 10 points against a division rival.
It's not even it's the 10 points. It's no touches for Jaylen Warren down the stretch. It's the routes that, as I've said before, that are independent of each other. There's nothing building on anything on offense. That game last week came down to the Browns had their rookie quarterback who wasn't that great, but in the moments he needed to be, were able to make professional plays. And they had a scheme that kept them on schedule as much as they could to allow their defense to play into the strength of the game, which was when Kenny Pickett got the ball back, I'm like, okay, we can at least play for the field goal. Maybe we'll run it. We'll give it to Jaylen Warren. We've been able to run the football. But this is a reverse of game 2. We ran the football against the Browns this game. So for them to come in those waning moments and not run the football and not set up Boswell to win,
horrible play calling.
Fire Matt Canada into the sun. I'm glad he's gone.
Now, that also being said, now you get the turnaround game with another division foe, okay, and the Cincinnati Bengals, who don't have Joe Burrow, obviously, at the quarterback position. That is a huge thing. I said it before. I'll say it again. It sets up with Joe Burrow being out, sets up for a good week for the Pittsburgh Steelers to rebound. Since the firing of Matt Canada, I was going to be on Pittsburgh. I didn't care who they played, because it is something about when you get rid of the guy that's holding you down and you get an opportunity to climb out of the cellar. It always seems to happen the week afterwards. Again, I don't care who they were playing. I was picking Pittsburgh. Why should we pick Pittsburgh this week so in other words, what are the three keys to the game against who? Who are they playing this week? Bryce?
The Bungles.
The sense to nothing bungle.
The Burrow Free Bengals.
I love
nice.
The Podfather will respect this. I love to channel my inner Rick Rude with my names.
Yes. Yes.
So the way I look, first of all, let me be on record as saying, and I hope I'm wrong, my expectation is not offensive explosion. You're not going to change the whole playbook mid-season.
In 1 week.
It's impossible to do in 1 week. What I'm hoping is that two competent NFL coaches can at least add in more switch routes, route combinations that build off of the run game, play action, and use of the middle of the field. If we can do that, maybe we can become a competent NFL offense that can move the football and score some points and help Kenny read the football field better. I think that type of offense will help him. A lot of times he looks confused, like he doesn't know to go with the ball, or everything is our guys have to win one-on-one matchups. So
Yes.
that happens. So I think what Pittsburgh needs to do today is first and foremost, they got to pressure Browning. If he can sit back there, that was one thing last week. DTR, there was some pressure on him, but at the end of the game, he had some time and he was able to complete easy throws, slant routes over the middle to keep that offense on schedule. So you got to pressure Brown. You got to make him very uncomfortable, force him into mistakes. I think you have to do that. And then I think back to what I said before, you got to put Kenny in better positions with the play calling. We've shown we can run the football. I think you insert Broderick Jones. He is a key piece on the offensive line. He's a people mover. You got guys that even Dan Moore at left tackle isn't great, but he's always been okay in the run. So look, you run the football, you build off of that play action and passes that can work over the middle of the field, put defenders in conflict. So I think that'll help Kenny. I hope it does. We're going to find out. And then you got to stop Jamar Chase. I think if Joey Porter Jr. is going to mirror him a little bit, but it's a team effort to stop Chase. You just can't let him wreck the game with
Absolutely
big plays to give the rookie confidence. So I think those are the three keys for Pittsburgh.
Are you worried about Micah Fitzpatrick out of the game in reality? Not maybe this game is what I was thinking, but maybe in a couple of games later. But this one, it might not be an issue.
Hey, listen, I'm always worried when you don't have Minka. I mean, Minka's a game breaker, so I want him on the field. Look, Obi is a very you can't really say this about a lot of his brethren, but he is a very rational Browns fan. And if you watch that game last week, they were not able to take advantage of our injuries at linebacker and safety. I thought our linebackers came to play. They came downhill. They ran hard. They gave the Browns a lot of fits in the run game. So, I think I'm hoping they can do that this week, but it's going to be tougher. I think you got a more dynamic offense in terms of skilled positions coming up that's going to stress some of our injuries in the middle of the defense. So, it's not going to be an easy game, and I would love to have Minka, but hopefully, these guys can step up, communicate better, be in their right spots, and tackle people, get them on the ground.
So that being said, when you're looking at this game, Cuervo, I think there is an opportunity in reality for the Pittsburgh Steelers to maybe find an identity in the last part of the season on who they can and cannot be. And yes, Bryce, I haven't forgot about the question. We are going to come back to that question. But looking at the future, what are you looking at the future for Pittsburgh?
Well, I'm looking at an offense that, and this will probably put a smile on Bryce's face, an offense that's not so damn predictable, because that's what I hear from a lot of Steeler fans. And believe me, there ain't no Steeler fan I don't know that was not rejoicing when they fired Matt Canada. Every single one was on social media posting about it, like they just won the lottery. And maybe it is kind of like winning the lottery, the football lottery, because you got rid of the bad apple in the basket. So, but I expect to see an offense that is not so predictable, not so basic, not so just, I don't know, vanilla, whatever you want to call it. But they're not going to be, oh, well, yep, I know that formation. I know what's coming. Yep. It's going to be, you're going to see a good mix. You're going to see some things that you haven't seen the Steelers do in a while. And they're going to mix it up and use the talent that they have on that team. They may not seem like much, but that could be because Matt Canada is just not a guy that gets the most out of his players. So, we don't know what Jalen will. I'm going to say it. I don't think we know yet I think we still don't know what Jaylen Warren could be capable of, and we're going to find out. We don't know what Najee Harris is capable of, but we're going to find out. Deontay Johnson, I think we know who he is, but we don't know. I mean, Pickens could be something that we don't know yet. Now that you got Freiermuth back.
So how do you have them going up against Cincinnati today, Cuervo?
I think they win. I think they go into Cincinnati. I think they go into the jungle, and they beat the Bungles. And I think it's going to be a defensive effort. Like Bryce said, it's not going to be they're going to explode for 40. After firing the OC, 5 days ago, it's not going to work that way. But do I think you're going to see, like I said, things that you may have not seen the Steelers do in a while? Possibly. I don't know who's taking over as the OC, but at this point, does it really matter? Canada's gone, so
that's a good point. No matter who's there.
Yeah, I just go back, and my memory bank tells me that Pittsburgh in Cincinnati, that defense is a problem, even with Mika out. There's something about going into Cincinnati, that defense plays at a higher level. And I think we're going to see that again today. So, wave that terrible towel. I like the Steelers to win.
So are you on Pittsburgh then? Is that what you're saying? Or are you going to go Cincinnati's route?
Jesus,
did he not hear you?
Steelers, here we go. Steelers, here we go.
Oh, wow. All right. That being said, I'll shoot it over to the man, Obi. I mean, this is a division game. Now, granted, your Browns aren't playing this game per se, but a division game's always tough. Within this, it almost doesn't matter who is there. You're always going to get a good game. Looking at this game, what do you think is going to be coming your way?
Here we go.
Wow, really? What did I say last week, guys? Remember what I said?
You did.
I picked the Steelers to win on this show.
Okay.
But I picked with my heart on the pick'ems, and I picked my Browns to win. So, and what else did I say? I said with Burrow going down and Watson going down for Cleveland, I said that I predicted the Steelers to win this division, and I'm going to stay on that.
Wow.
I'm going to stay on it. And that was when Canada was the OC. So I'm going to stay with this. I think the Steelers are going to win today, especially with Cincinnati being out with Burrow. I think this Browning kid he's in for a rude awakening today with that Steeler defense. And I don't see an offensive explosion by Pittsburgh. I see them, but I guess maybe it's 20 points in an offensive explosion for the Steelers. I think it's going to be 2017, 2013, something like that. It's a Steeler win. It's going to be dirty, downright division game. But the Steelers
love them
today. And the Steelers, I'd say Steelers win this division. Somehow, some way they do.
Wow. Well, it's not week 13, so Lamar Jackson's not down yet. So I'll go ahead and shoot it over to the guys asleep right there. That being Trey. We got to shake him and wake him a little bit here. It's week in and week out. So, Trey, waking up out of the coma that you're in, what do you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals?
That was like an Undertaker vibe. I just got
to say. No. It's definitely the Undertaker with the heel turn because I feel the chair shot coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, pick-wise, I'm picking the Steelers. But let me tell you something. The NFL sat back during the offseason and went, you know what? After Thanksgiving, we need to give the fans a break, like a complete bye week of just shit games, so everybody can go do their shopping, get out of the way now. You got your Black Friday game, which was a waste of time. Have the Saturday, have the Sunday, have the Cyber Monday deal. Just give you guys a week off. Well, we still got to play games. Don't get me wrong. We still got to play games, but we'll throw the most lamest games out there this week. And oh my God, have they found that way? Now, granted, a lot of injuries had a lot to do with this one because that Burrows played might have been a different pick, but Burrows being out does not do the Bengals any justice at all.
No, God,
Okay?
no. Makes it worse, if anything.
And until the Ravens can be stopped, I'm still picking the Ravens to win that division. But I do see Pittsburgh. You know what? Look, Pittsburgh's not a bad team. They're not a great team. They're not a bad team now. So they're hovering around that mid-level exception type deal right now. There could be 8-9, 9-8. If they win one more, it's awesome for them. If they lose one more, it's kind of to be expected. So it's like, you know, this week alone, I mean, let's face it, look at the games we've covered so far. Most of them, if not all of them, we have sat here with the hint of, I don't give a shit. I mean, we talked about how bad the NFC South is. We talked about, you know, how bad the Titans and the Texans can be or whatever that means. We've gone through all this entire stuff. Now we have a game where we're like, they're just going to beat each other up. We don't care. So that's what we're going to get here. I think first one to 30 wins. First one to 30 wins.
First one to 30 wins. So now that's a lot of points. So then comes the question. I have been waiting with bated breath. And he promised this last week, but he needed one more week. So I've got to find out. I've got to know the Pittsburgh Steelers and their future with Kenny Pickett at the quarterback position for this fine franchise, this storied franchise, Pittsburgh Steelers. Is this the guy that leads you away for the next few years? Or I'm going to throw you a curveball. Do you need the rest of the season with somebody different at the offensive coordinator position to figure this out?
Wow.
I even gave him an out. Look at me, how great I am. I gave him an out. That's how much I like this guy.
You're such a giver.
No, I appreciate that, Sonny. First and foremost, even though I don't expect there to be an offensive explosion, let me make my official pick. I'm going with the Steelers. No surprise. I think Pittsburgh can come in and do enough to disrupt Browning and not let him get on track with those wideouts. T. Higgins isn't playing. That's a big loss. And listen, one thing I've seen the Steelers do this year, now that they've inserted this rookie tackle, is that Pittsburgh is going to run the football. And
they better.
And they're going to have good run success rates with their 1-2 combination. And so I don't think the Bengals are as good of a defense as the Browns, particularly at the corner position, which allows you to do a lot of things up front. And the Steelers still were able to run for 166. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens with Eddie Faulkner as the OC and with Sullivan calling the plays, kind of a co-OC role. Let's see how that goes.
Yep.
Kenny Pickett. Watched him last season come in. I said I would do 9 games. I did 10. Here's my evaluation of Kenny Pickett. Sonny Clark, I know this is lame. Thank you for throwing me that out because I'm going to take it.
I am too.
Hold on. Here's what I think about Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett, I've seen Kenny Pickett make big boy throws, particularly in the fourth quarter when the pressure's on, which tells me that Mike Tomlin and Matt Canada have the handcuffs on Kenny Pickett. For some reason, they don't trust him to see and read the whole field for the first 3 quarters. And from what I've seen from him since he's came on, I think they have some good reason for that. When the plays are there in Canada's offense, I don't think he is consistent enough in hitting wide open throws. That has concerned me because he has regressed. I think he has regressed under this offensive coaching staff, which is why I'm not confident there's going to be some offensive explosion, because while I think Faulkner may be a good OC, he was a running backs coach one day, he might be a good OC. While I think Sullivan is a good guy and knows quarterbacks, I'm not sure he's gotten the highest level coaching to really make sure he hits that ceiling. Here's why. Kenny Pickett as a player, Kenny Pickett can extend some plays, but he is not elite at extending plays. When you watch Kenny Pickett, he needs those guards in that center to set that pocket for him so he can Be in that pocket, not face pressure, be accurate with the football. I think they look at Kenny a little bit as a scrambler, but Kenny is not elite with his arm with off-pocket throws and these off-arm throws that say Josh Allen can make, Mahomes can make. He does off-platform throws. He does not have the arm talent to do that. So he's got to know where he goes with the ball, and he can get it there. I've seen him look elite throwing back shoulder fades. I've seen him zip footballs in there in super cold weather. So I think it's in there to do. But he needs better coaching and a better system to help bring those things out so he knows where to go with the ball. Because when he doesn't, and guys got to win one-on-one all the time, and he's got to make those throws all the time, I'm not seeing the consistency. So if you ask me, have the Steelers found their franchise quarterback yet? I'm going to lean towards saying no to not knowing, because he has been hampered by the offensive system. I think I need to watch more towards the end of this season. But from what I've seen from his play, I have not seen him be good enough to hit the throws that are there when they are there in this offense. I need to see a lot more. They got to take the handcuffs off him, and we got to see, can this guy consistently throw you to victory? When given an opportunity in the fourth quarter, I've seen him make plays, but not consistently enough. That's my analysis as of today.
Go ahead, Opie.
I got a question for Bryce and you and Trey, especially Bryce. I just sat here and listened to what you said, and I've watched some Steeler games, and I just feel like I feel like what I'm seeing is Kenny Pickett was playing afraid, not afraid of the players and the team he's playing, but afraid of making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And let me ask you this question. I'm not putting Kenny Pickett in these guys' echelon, but do you think that Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, all these upper echelon quarterbacks, do you feel like that they are playing that they're afraid of making mistakes? No. They go out there and they play. Now, is it because Kenny has been told during practice and things like that, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, you don't go here, and so when he goes into game time, it's in the back of his head. It's like, oh my God, I can't make this mistake, or I'm going to get my ass chewed out when I go over the sidelines. I feel
that trust thing that you're talking about. So Trey, I mean, I don't know how much you dig into what a Kenny Pickett is, or to the Steelers more so than what a Dak is to the Cowboys. But when you look, I mean, I don't know how much you keep track of. What's your opinion up on Kenny Pickett and what you think you can expect to see from him today with a new offensive coordinator, with a new maybe, guiding, force for him going into this one? Let's say whatever you want. Cincinnati, they can play defensively, but will they play defensively enough to win the game against, that's the big question. So what do you think about Kenny Pickett?
I think Obi was right. I think he played scared because he played when you're in his position right now, you're playing for your job. And if you make those mistakes, you can be easily replaced. Unfortunately, easily replaced means the guy on the other end of the bench is going to take it, and you're going to sit your ass on the bench. We might still suck. So, that's the idea of easily being replaced in the NFL nowadays, because you don't have a top tier second string quarterback. So, but if you're not playing like a top tier quarterback to begin with, what they got to lose? Once again, look at Tommy DeVito for the Giants. Not a top tier quarterback, but he's playing a hell of a lot better than his predecessor right now. So, I think right now with no Matt Canada, you have a new lease on life. For him, that might be a breath of fresh air for him.
Yeah.
Not everybody's coaching styles. Not everybody's coaching systems fits the quarterback. Look at Carolina. So I mean, sometimes you got to find the right system to fit the quarterback. Sometimes you got to find the right quarterback to fit the right system. And both of them being married together right now, sometimes you got to make it work like a marriage. I wouldn't know because mine failed. So I mean, saying facts. So, I mean, you have to make both ends meet to where you have a common ground. And I think it's taken all year long for the Steelers. And by the way, like I said, they're not bad. They're just not great. So while they're in that good to okay type range, they've been able to at least stay in the hunt. Now let's find out how we can get past that. If we can do it this year. If not, let's just stay good and then build on the good. And with the new coach, new lease on life, new everything you can for the offense, maybe because let's face it, the Steelers, which I give them 100% credit for, they don't go cut off the heads off their head coaches. Okay, I mean they pick a head coach. That guy's there for life almost. So kudos to them. They find replacements for that particular position that needs it, and I 100% love that. And Cuervo's back. But anyway, I really do think that Kenny Pickett's got a new lease on life. He played scared. Now it's a little different. He's playing against a Bengals team that is missing the guy.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And the other guy they have on their team hasn't played like the other guy on this team because the other guy was having issues with them all year long. So I think you have too much confusion with Cincinnati. You have the right pace for a very young, up-and-coming team with the Steelers. That's where I think the Steelers will benefit today. Now, they might lose, but then again, I think they have a better chance of winning because you got the Bengals who, like I said, they were the measuring stick 2 weeks ago to Houston.
Yep, without question.
And Houston beat them. Now they're not the measuring stick anymore. And right now the measuring stick might just be Baltimore. So to stay in current with Baltimore, you got to keep winning. And they got the Bengals to do it. Once again, it's a suck week in the NFL for everybody, okay? So even the Cowboys got a bad team to play this past week. So it happens to everybody.
Cuervo, you've heard, I don't know how much you have heard, but Kenny Pickett, Bryce is going to, and I gave him the out because I wanted the answer this week, whether he's the guy or not. With the new regime coming in and figuring out what they're going to do, I gave him and he's going to take it. What's your thoughts on Pickett and the game today? What's your pick too?
Well, I'm taking the Steelers. And as far as Kenny, I mean, I think he was held back as far as development. And I think that, and I'm not saying he's going to turn into an all-pro quarterback now that Matt Canada's gone, but I think the Canada effect is there. I think South Park said it best, blame Canada. And that's why you've seen him not really play the way that you could see that he could become, and that goes for the whole offense. Like I said, I think there's more to be had with this Steeler offense, and I think Kenny, his development will start to get a little quicker. I think he's gonna start to show a little bit more now that Canada's gone. But I don't, as far as him being the quarterback of the future for the Steelers, yeah, I don't know about that one. I think it's still a question mark because I want to see what he does with the new offensive coordinator now. Let's see where he can be with a new OC.
All right. That being said, go ahead. Whoa, I just lost somebody. Who did I lose? I lost Obi. Okay, so Obi had the bail. Oh, private message. Think he had the bail. Yep, got to go. And he says, "Go Broncos." Wow, go Broncos! Really?
Yeah.
So that being said, let's go to that game. We're going to go into a little rapid fire to finish up the game. We do have Cincinnati or Cleveland taking on the Denver Broncos in Denver. What's your take up on this one, Bryce?
You know what? Obi is going to hate me for saying this, but I don't care. I'm going with the Broncos. I think the Bronco defense is playing a lot better, and the Bronco offense got Sean Payton at least, and they got Russell Wilson's playing a lot better. They're coordinated. This ain't the Steelers. They're going to score more than 10 points. I think they do enough to beat the Browns.
Trey Mack, looking at this one, what are you seeing?
Same.
Wow, okay. Thanks for that intuitive look into that game there, Trey. I appreciate it. Cuervo, I mean, this is a game right here.
Fire. You said rapid fire, right?
Well, I still, a little something. Anyway, Cuervo, wife, feeling good about your Denver?
Hold on a second. Go back to me for a second. Okay. To make you feel better, Sonny.
Thank you.
I agree with everything that Bryce said. Are you happy now?
Yeah, good Lord. I knew I brought him in. All right, your wife, is your wife trusting the Broncos now? Is she feeling a little bit better as far as what the Broncos delivered within the first 4 weeks compared to, let's be honest, the last 5 weeks, we're seeing a kind of a different football team.
Yeah, you know what? The attitude has definitely changed with her towards Sean Payton, towards the Broncos. I think she still gets nervous about the offense being able to move the ball. But I think the defense, no concern there. I think she likes where the defense is at. But I think she still gets a little nervous when Russ has got the ball in his hands. And I think it's the play calling for her, because she's tired of the short passes. She's tired of the screens. She's tired of the short game. She wants to see Russ go deep, to Sutton and hit some post routes to Jerry Jeudy or whatever. Open it up more. That's what she wants to see. She wants to see that offense open up some more, instead of on 3rd and 7 we're running wide receiver screens. Like, come on, guys. They're gonna wide receiver screen my wife to death. Or inside zone up the middle. The run up the middle with the inside zone play. Oh my God. I have to.
So who you got in this one?
I have to remove like solid objects from the area because I don't want them going through the TV. You know what I mean? But yeah, a part of me has a feeling that Cleveland might pull this one off, just because of how strong their run game is. That always is a concern for me with the Browns, just to how well they run the football. But I look overall at who Cleveland is, and it's tough. I almost want to pick Cleveland, but you can't go against how hot Denver is right now. You can say what you want. They're beating bad teams or whatever. Don't forget 24-9 against Kansas City, despite what you may think about how Mahomes' health was that day. To hold them to 9 points, I thought was impressive. So I'm on the fence on this one, but I'm leaning more towards Denver right now.
Well, I'm gonna go against it. I think that they always say defense wins championships. I say that's crap. Defense wins regular season football games. Guess what? I think the better defense, well, if you look at the numbers and if you watch the damn game, the defense is a little bit better up on the other side of this one in reality, if you go by. Never mind the fact that I don't think you're going to see the ball in the air for Cleveland a lot. They're going to run the football today, which is what they should do anyway. So I don't know if Denver has met a defense like they are going to meet today, because not only that, Russell Wilson's going to be running. I think Russell Wilson's going to be running for his life, and that's exactly where you want Russell Wilson to be if you're the Cleveland Browns. You want this guy hustling to the side and then throwing the ball out of bounds because he's getting a lot of pressure. Pressure is what this game is all about, especially when you Russell. Go ahead.
Were you watching the damn game when Baltimore won their first Super Bowl?
So you want to bring one? You're going to bring one game into this? I mean,
you say a running quarterback can't win a Super Bowl. I'm just sitting there saying, you say defense don't win Super Bowls either. They won one, so I mean, clearly you can be wrong.
Well,
it's okay. Me, Bryce, and Cuervo will say you'll be okay
can
with
you
it.
like make it on a regular basis instead of pulling one game out of it? That's like, listen, now,
Okay, the
yes,
Bears.
this guy below me right here knows about defense winning championships right there as far as the Bears are concerned. So, but on a regular basis, defenses don't win championships. So that's just why I am saying that I'm on that one. So go ahead.
Not
Cuervo.
anymore.
I agree.
I'm just saying
Not
it
anymore.
doesn't work like that anymore.
I agree 100%. That's why. So I'm going to go. Listen, I don't think that the Broncos have seen the defense like, oh, it's going to be coming at them today in reality. So that's where I'm at. Did I get you, Bryce, on this game as far as that was concerned? Did I get your pick on this one?
On Browns and Bears?
Yeah. No, Browns and Denver.
Yeah, Browns and Denver. Yeah, I got the Broncos.
That's the Broncos. Okay. I'm gonna go defense. I'll be on an island on this game. You watch and I'm gonna lose. Damn it. No, Obi will probably be on the Browns because he doesn't choose with his brain, he chooses with his heart. So he'll probably be on the Browns. That having been said. Next game, Kansas City and Las Vegas. Rapid fire on that one, Bryce, because Las Vegas at home, Kansas City not playing up to snuff. What do you think about this one?
I got Kansas City. I'm rooting for Antonio Pierce, even though I'm not a big Raiders fan. I like the energy he's brought, but I think if it comes down to the Chief defense, very underrated this year. They've come to play. They will win a low-scoring game, and then I'm going to go coach quarterback. And in this matchup, you got Andy Reid and you got Patrick Mahomes, so I'm going with the Chiefs.
Big Trey Mack, what's your take up on the Raiders and the Chiefs today?
Well, I mean, the Chiefs may not be up to snuff, but the Raiders aren't playing football. So I'm going to go with the power of Taylor Swift and take the Chiefs.
Just leave it to him. Cuervo, what's your take?
Today? Trey's
I see.
Today.
He's always first. Poking the bear.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't see Kansas City losing this game, especially. I know they want to bounce back after losing that Monday night game against Philadelphia at home. So, yeah, I expect the Chiefs to win.
I want them to be better after that game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go with Kansas City as well. As far as that's concerned, I just think that I think whoever said it, coaches quarterback. That was Bryce. Coach's quarterback over as far as that one is concerned. So that also being said, Philadelphia is in Buffalo. Buffalo does not seem to be playing well. By the way, Philadelphia just pulling that game. Say again.
Other way around. Buffalo's in Philly.
Oh, Buffalo. Thank you. Buffalo's in Philly. Never mind. Philly just been playing good football, finding ways to win when they have to, but they've been doing it in a really kind of way where they're bitch slapping everybody out in the football field. I'm up on the Philadelphia Eagles going up against Buffalo. Bryce, who do you got in this one?
I got the Eagles, the more physical team, the more coordinated team. At the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles will line up and be the more physical football team. And if you're not going to do that, they're going to control football games. They can do it on both sides of the ball. I'm going with the Eagles.
Trey Mack, what's your take?
Oh, I mean, Josh Allen is so lights out right now, and he is so awesome. Wait a minute, we're talking about the Bills, right? No, never mind. Eagles will win. Eagles will win.
So there's the William Regal brass knucks.
Yeah, there you go. Out of the tights, exactly. So that being said, Baltimore takes on the Chargers. Listen, the Chargers have been playing actually halfway decent football. Sometimes they just can't get over the hump, and I don't know if they're capable against Baltimore. I'm going to go Baltimore. What's your take up on this one, Mr. Bryce from Brooklyn?
Ooh.
Did we get Cuervo's pick on the Eagles?
Oh, I thought I did. My bad. Let me pull him back in here. Eagle. I thought I'm just slow up on the uptake. I didn't write this one down.
I got you, buddy.
Eagles in Buffalo. You got your back.
I was just gonna let it go, but that's all right.
No.
I
will let it go for you, sir.
No stone unturned for Trey. Three words in honor of Bryce right here for this game. Eagles, home, Papali's. That's all you need to know.
There you go. So, all right, we got two more games to cover. We'll do them really quick. But Baltimore and the Chargers, I'm really interested. I don't know how much homework you've done on this one, Bryce, but I'm really interested. You're kind of in the Buffalo area and stuff, keeping track of that. Going up against Baltimore, what you think about them within your own division? Your guys, what's your take up on this one?
Baltimore and the Chargers. This is an interesting matchup. As much as it sickens me, I'm going to go with the Ravens, but it's going to be close and people. It's going to be closer than people think, because as weird as the Chargers are and how they don't know how to finish games, they are super talented and they'll give you. They're tough to handle in terms of those matchups. And the Raven defense steps up for big games, but this is a big time quarterback, and
yes,
big time throws. And the Chargers
big time runs too.
Now, I expect them to come out and throw a lot at the Ravens. The Ravens will win this game, but it's going to be closer than people think.
Big Cuervo, what's your take up on the Chargers and Baltimore in L.A.?
This is like the choke bowl, right? I mean, both of these teams, they've choked at some point in time during the season. They've choked games away, but I think Baltimore. I think Baltimore is even without Mark Andrews. I think they still win this game.
I'm looking at the Ravens as well, although week 13 is on. Give me a second. Although we're getting close to week 13, which is when we usually see Lamar Jackson go down on injury for the last couple of years. So, and by the way, he's been taking a lot of hits as of late. I think they'll get the job done. He might get hurt in this game. As far as that is concerned, that's my kind of. I'm going with Baltimore, expecting Lamar Jackson to get hurt this week or next week. If it's this week, it'll be enough for him to get the win. Next week, then that's a total different story. Trey Mack, go ahead. You had your hand up.
No,
you gotta go to the bathroom?
No, I'm going right now. What are you talking about? No, look. I trust the Ravens a hell of a lot more than I trust the Chargers. So give me the Ravens.
Good point,
guys. I'm going to head out, but I want you to enjoy your football Sunday.
Bears. What's your take up on the Bears?
Bears. Who they playing this week?
Monday night, Minnesota in Minnesota.
Woo, Cuervo, I'm on your side. I'm going with the Bears.
Damn! Let's go! Damn! Now I gotta think about retaking my pick. Oh my god!
With Cuervo's Bears.
Bryce from Brooklyn, always good to see you, my friend. Always have a great time. Thanks for coming up on the show. We'll catch you next week if you are available. That means the Bears. Listen, I'm on Minnesota. I'm just because I just don't know. I don't know what game to pick or who to win, so I'm just taking the home team. That just goes where I'm at. What do you think, Cuervo, on your Bears?
I'm so shocked, Sonny, that you're picking against the Bears. Oh my gosh.
Hey, if they were home, I would have picked the Bears. How's that? Does that make you feel any better? No,
because I don't buy it. I'm not buying it for not even $4. You would pick Northwestern to beat the Bears. That's how much you dislike it.
Hey, it's a Chicago team right there. Good. Hey, I'm impressed, Cuervo. Good job.
Anyways, I of course I'd like to see the Bears win. I don't know.
For the pick, it's hard to pick, isn't it?
It is, because it's like, man, I like what I saw from them against Detroit. They were able to create takeaways. They're moving the ball down the field. They put points on the board. My fear is that they're going to have the lead going into the fourth quarter. They're going to find a way to let it go.
Maybe a little bit earlier in the fourth quarter than right at the end, as they let that one go. As far as Detroit is concerned, that was a bad loss for the Bears. I feel for you on that one.
Because, bad, by the way.
Well,
historically bad. I'm serious when I say that. It was a historically bad loss.
Yeah, and you can say what you want about that, Cuervo. That's what bad football teams do. I mean, just go to Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's known for that kind of stuff. Getting in the lead and just giving it up in the fourth quarter. How many years have we seen Cleveland do that just within the last 15? Well, whenever they came back into the league, they've been the same Browns as they were before they were out of Cleveland for a while. So it's just when you're a bad football team, you got to get over history, and getting over history, like what we saw last week against the Lions, is what the Bears now have to try to figure out not to do anymore. So they don't want to be known for doing that on a regular basis. So that being said, is the man. He is there. Who you got in this one?
And Dobbs, I trust.
And Dobbs, listen, I like him, and I know Cuervo likes him. He loves to see that happen, but not just against his team. So that's probably more of what he's thinking about that. Trey Mack, you're on your way to work. Who's playing out there this week, this upcoming week?
Let's see. The first, they're gonna have Travis Tritt and Pat Green, and
that's Friday.
That's Friday. I will not be a part of that because I've got to take my mother-in-law to her doctor. And then Saturday, which I'll be doing Sorcade over in Dallas.
That's right.
They were going to have Tim McGraw, but he rescheduled for February. So now they have an empty slate on Saturday.
And I got a Santa gig on Saturday, so I won't be attending the Sorcade. I'd love that. I mean, I think forget Sormania. I think Sorcade sets up a Sormania in 6 weeks or 6 months.
And also, I mean, this could be my last wrestling show. You never know.
You never know. You might miss out on seeing Trey Mack anymore.
I might say I'm done. We'll see.
Well, they said they got something lined up for you, so I'm hoping good for you on that one. So, Cuervo, what's your plans for the rest of the day? Just football? Are you going somewhere? You got the wife with you and the kids?
What kids? No, ain't no kids around here.
Grandkids. I say the kids. Like it
went home yesterday. The granddaughter went home yesterday.
Gotcha.
But today
you almost don't know what to do.
No. We've got plans. We are going to decorate. We're doing some Christmas decorating.
Gotcha. I've had my tree up all year. I haven't taken it down. Lights flashing every night. Although I lost a strand of light, so I gotta fix that and go from that. I'm pulling the lazy. I'm almost to where I don't care, but I still need to replace it. And I got the Santa gig on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And plus we're going to be at an auto show and get to see all these cool cars and stuff like that. I might go live up on that one. As far as that is concerned, let me hit that button right there. Stop. I hate this. You're supposed to push the button and it's supposed to stop. And I got to sit there and friggin' pound it. There we go. That being said, I'll be doing that. And then Sunday, hey, you and I on top of the Pick'em League, which is the way it should be, in reality, you and I on top of it. Right. But today's picks are going to be, it's going to be a different on what's going on.
There will be.
We got some. What do you call different picks as far as that is concerned. So we should look at it. Anything going on before we're out of here? Any early scoring yet?
No, not that I've seen. But I wanted to do this when Obi was here. But congratulations are in fact in order for Sonny and those Michigan Wolverines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was very nice, and I drove by Obi's house and parked there for a little bit and just enjoyed the view. Yes, and those are blue lights because the wife is definitely in charge over there. So as I look at it, the only day we didn't cover the Indianapolis Tampa Bay game. I went Tampa Bay. Just because I don't know who Indianapolis is. I do know who Tampa Bay is, but I think it might be enough. What's your take up on it really quick?
I'm taking the Colts.
Taking the Colts. All right, so we're we're opposite on that one, and I think that's the only one we're opposite. Except I'm on Jacksonville, you're on Houston. If we split them, we'll be the same. If you go 2-0 on those two games, you'll be stretching your legs a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the afternoon figures up as far as the pick'em is concerned. So, by the way, this is weird. I'm on the other side, and I don't know which way to even lean. This is weird. I just, if you notice, I just learned how to do some of this stuff and moving people around and bringing up. I just learned this. I know we've been doing this 4 years now up on this, and I'm finally figuring out how to use it. And yeah, it's just incredible. So that being said, but I hope you have a great rest of your day. Always good to see you, my friend. And always, we had more misfits in here today. That was nice. Always good to see the misfits, as far as who's here and who's not. So that's always good. So that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Make sure you join us week in, week out, 9 a.m. to noon. And obviously within the playoffs and the off season, it's going to be a lot of fun in the off season because we're going to bring in some different things to talk about. Obviously wrestling. I really want to try to keep track of the NBA this year, and I am early keeping track of what's going on. We'll have more to talk about on that on the Sunday show. So that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. I should switch it over there. So I'm under my name and you're under your name. I got to remember this. I'm an idiot, but they're surprisingly enough for everybody.
I didn't even notice it.
I know I'm an idiot. Does that surprise anybody? I don't think so. That's just the way it is here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Catch you in week 13. Everybody have a good day.